You have habits just like me. Talk too much with strangers. Get way too serious around family. And I don't have any wishes, but when I kiss you, our lips fit well. And I don't have expectations, but when I daydream, I fall asleep. And our hands melt. It started out as teasing, but I had deeper meaning when I touched your chest. Now I don't know how to act, but if I did, and I don't have any wishes, but when I kiss you, our lips fit well. And I don't have expectations, but when I daydream, I fall asleep. And our hands melt. But if I did all alone, and I don't have wishes, our lips fit well. And I don't have expectations, but when I daydream, I fall asleep. And our hands melt. I would go through hell and back, make my way into the dark. 'Cause I'm trying to get to you, yeah, I'm trying to get to you. I wanna get to you, 'cause I gotta get to you. I would climb 1,000 mountains, swim across the darkest ocean. 'Cause I'm trying to get to you, yeah, I'm trying to get to you. I wanna get to you, 'cause I gotta get to you.
let you explore imperfect visions like I've been here before. Falling faster, I try to ignore. I see you, I see you. I'll let you drag me to hell if you hold my hand. Tell me this is real and it will never end. This is not what I came here to find. Memories show that I'm out of time. See a shadow, don't know if it's mine, but I see you, I see you, I see you, I see I'll let you drag me to hell if you hold my hand. Tell me this is real and it will never end. Way too many faces in the crowd, but I think that I see you. One too many days got me changing up the way that I need you. Now we're both at a bar, acting like it's not hard, trying to feel something different. Talk to somebody new, kinda wish it was you, kinda numb to the feeling. Now that you're gone, they say time should heal, but it's been too long. Couple months and I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to. I can't seem to. Not that you're gone, I can't seem to. I can't seem to. Laying on my floor, thinking about all the things that we've been through. From 24/7 to pretending like I never met you. No, it's all for the best, 'cause I know we're a mess every time we're together. Going out of my mind, and I wish I could lie, tell you that it gets better. Now that you're gone, they say time should heal, but it's been too long. Couple months where I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to move on. I can't seem to. I can't.
You'll still have common days. Forget someone's name mid-conversation. Count your tips at the end of your shift. Buy something disappointing off the internet. This is not one of those days. A few weeks a year and you'll discover the most uncommon time of your life.
Hello, welcome here everyone. I'm excited to get underway with the Nationals to the NECC side of things. The playoffs of the regular divisions are done, and now we get the best of the best, duking it out across the entirety to figure out who is the best of the best. Overall of the best. I don't know. We are the best of the best of the best here right now. My name is Orbital. With me is Quacks, and we will be your casters for the first matchup for the League of Legends side of things as we head over to Div 5. Quacks, how you doing today?
I'm doing really good. It's only been a couple of weeks, I believe, since the last time I was on here, so happy to be back at NECC casting with you, Orbital, and yeah, the adventures of Div 5 here, so looking to see some shenanigans, looking to see some tomfoolery. I think it's always really fun to have a break from, if you are casting like a lot of these Diamond, potentially Masters Plus players, to go back to the roots a little bit, go back to, you know, the average competitive experience and really just get into the chaos.
I like how you say average, and yet we're in Div 5, where the average is significantly higher than the average of League of Legends in general. Remember, the average of League
that is true.
Is like Silver 3. We are far higher than that, and I can attest to that because we've got two teams that have battled it out in the playoffs of Div 5. I'm very excited. We got Maharishi International University going up against North Dakota State University, the Pioneers versus the Bison Gold, a matchup that these two teams have actually played against each other multiple times. For Pioneers, we got Aaron Omni, as well as Hydra, Shuffle, Roaming Zephyr, and that girl Skylar. For the side of Bison, we got Puggus Wuggus, Sageinator, Soul and Soul, Schmidiot, as well as 3 Turbo Turtles.
Yeah, and not super familiar on these teams, but Orbital, before we were going into the game, you did mention the matchup, you did mention the bad blood between these two teams, and so now, I mean, now that we're in the playoffs, right, it is still best of 3, so I'm really looking to see who comes out swinging here. I think that the biggest commodity that you can have is momentum. When you have these series that aren't best of 5s, being able to win that first game not only does a lot for, you know, being the obvious 1-0 up lead, but also just making sure that you have the morale boosted, and also that you have the opponents kind of on the downwards trend of, you know, we lose this game and you know, that's the series. So yeah, winning game number 1 going to be really important for both of these teams, is just to boost the morale a little bit, because like you said, there have been so many matches between the two.
Yeah, and I think that dives a little bit further into what the Pioneers are aiming for. The Pioneers have won this matchup quite a bit, but they had a little bit of a stumbling block after coming out of the regular season. In second seed position, I believe their playoff run was cut a little bit short, maybe a little bit differently than they would have not really liked. So coming into this Nationals matchup, the Pioneers' uncommon trait sitting here, are they able to bounce back? They specifically want to be able to bounce back in this Nationals run and make it very deep into the tournament. Not only that, continued dominance over Bison Gold, who they have beaten before, but will they be able to do it again? While their overall strategy is to be very flexible, they tend to put their priorities in different directions depending on how the draft pans out, so they don't really sole draft to a specific lane. It's more about what's available at that time.
And that makes for, I think, a really interesting draft that we might have ahead of us. I think that flex picks have obviously been something that a lot of teams, particularly at this level, employ, and is a very valuable commodity to have. Things like the Pantheon, things like the Volibear, like these kinds of champions are really good for just allowing that unpredictable nature in your draft and making it difficult for you to, you know, plan some of those future bans on 4-5.
Yeah, and looking on the other side for the Bison Gold, the uncommon traits that we'll be looking for is a few of the same, but also a little bit different. For them, they have also stated that they have a very fluid playstyle, being able to flex between multiple players and figuring out exactly if they want to go more dive, more farming, more siege, and items like that. But for them, they're a little bit more tight-knit as a group. 3 of their players have specifically played together for quite a long time, and they want to use that power of friendship to overcome some of the difficulties that they have had. They're a little bit shy about coming coming into this matchup because it is against the Pioneers, a team that they have historically lost to. So I am really looking for one of the players to step up and really grab the spotlight to be that big leader for this team.
Yeah, and I think that the power of friendship thing is really going to be what I am leaning to look at for these teams because, particularly in the bot lane meta, we have been seeing a lot of teams not necessarily being, ADC and support as their own valuable champions. It really has been kind of a confluence more now than ever. You think over to like just worldwide pro play right now, you'll have like the Ashe Seraphine, you've got the Corki Nami, you've got things like the Ezreal Karma. So it really is about getting those solid pairings down. And that's why I think synergy is going to be very important and potentially be the thing that puts Bison Gold over the edge. Is I heard good luck and have fun with this one from our producer. So already I'm getting worried, Orbital.
Hey, listen, when you gotta be uncommon, you have to have an uncommon draft as well. Big shout out to the Army National Guard for those uncommon traits that you saw earlier. If you are wanting to find your calling, go ahead and check out the nationalguard.com. Once again, that is nationalguard.com. Taking a look here, though, it is going to be NDSU on that blue side to start. They will have first ban, first pick, and all the fun stuff. It's a Kayn ban to come out immediately, so a little bit more heavy targeting towards that jungle route for both of these teams.
Yeah, so we do see heavy emphasis on the junglers. I do know that three Turbo Turtles, you said that she was the captain of this team, and so is Skylar. So both the supports, I mean, they are the ones that kind of dictate how this game goes, I would imagine, having a leadership role and the role that obviously controls the most amount of vision in the game. So yeah, we're going to see some support bans levied toward them. The Nami going to be taken off the table along with the Azir. So Corki Nami not available. I do wonder if we're going to be seeing anything along the Ashe or Seraphine bans, because although it is a pairing, and even if you haven't played the champions, like, this is like the easiest duo that's around. You don't have to do anything. You just have to click your buttons and click the enemy team.
Yeah, and that's why we're kind of watching this draft kind of go a little bit leeways. With a lot of the current meta picks still available, they are a little bit more focused on the unique picks. Here, you can see the Nami banned away, which is one of the meta, but the Braum ban, I haven't seen a Braum be super high prio for a lot of people in a very long time. It's the Enchanters that we see most of the time. So focusing down on the bot side, which leaves open the Seraphine. That is going to be the side of the Bison Gold picking it up very, very quickly and saying, that's a power pick for us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, now Pioneer have the option to just steal away the Ashe. Does have a good amount of pairings. Braum being banned does take away one of them, but it does still, I think, deny that really strong 2v2 that Pioneer are looking to kind of throw up here. So Sylas going to be the lock-in instead. Obviously, I think expecting that the Ashe Seraphine is going to be locked in here on 2. To pair up with the Seraphine, and just having access to both of those ultimates does mean the pick potential for Sylas paired up with the Malzahar is actually quite dangerous, and that means that Sylas might be going into the jungle orbital, or we do see maybe a flexible, sneaky role here from the Malzahar.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking to flex things out and get a little bit silly with it, yeah, that is still very much a flex, but we know where some of these champions are going. The Seraphine and the Smolder, if that is a Smolder ADC, we are looking at a very farm-heavy side. For the side of NDSU, the Bison Gold are very specifically aiming for a play for late, we will blow you up then, we'll have those executes available. But an Udyr in the jungle almost calls out an early mid transition, very aggressive in that stance. And excuse me, it's matched on the other side by a Lee Sin.
Lee Sin here, not a lot of lockdown for Lee Sin. I mean, you do have the Malzahar ultimate, but I'm still questioning where all of these pieces on 1-2 are going to be going for MIU, because Pioneer Gold, I mean, this is, or Pioneer Esports, I got the two teams mixed up. Sometimes that happens. It feels like have a lot of skirmishing power, but very little lockdown to actually make it happen. So I think looking at 4-5 here, one thing that I'm very going to be keeping my eyes out on here for is going to see what the top laner for Pioneer Esports can actually do in facilitation and trying to get these high key skirmishing champions to be unlocked, unless that's like a Sylas top laner or something like that. Anything is possible.
I mean, we've even seen some people try and get a little bit cheeky with the bot lane APCs, but that normally happens with a little bit more farm heavy. We saw the Syndra in the past, Cassiopeia, these other champions that have a little bit extended range. not so much a dive threat in there, so it is a little bit surprising. Xerath banned away, now matching a little bit maybe of that mid lane action in there as well, but a Zahen to go ahead and come on out here, that is locking away the top lane and the jungle. This now puts that Sylas very heavily into that mid lane, at least in my eyes.
Where is everyone going? I mean, I would imagine we'll probably maybe get some answers, or we can theory craft once 5th pick is here, because we don't have a marksman yet locked in here for MIU. So unless it's something crazy like a Malzahar APC, then I mean, it would make it more confusing if that's their goal. But NDSU instead going to be going for the Rek'Sai plus the Anivia. I love the lock-in of the Anivia here. Super good into MIU at just being able to punish the fact that this is a pretty short-ranged comp. That wall is going to have a lot of value. And I'm looking at the last lock-in. That's not a marksman. Kassadin is going to be the last champion here. I'm hearing from our producer that there are no mishaps, no mess-ups, no mistakes. This is the actual draft, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, listen, we're in Div 5, and you said it yourself, Quacks. You gotta get down and dirty sometimes. You gotta get a little bit silly. If you can't play the meta, you gotta play unique, and this is extremely unique. And pushing this out, this is a Sylas support with a Malzahar farming against a Smolder and Seraphine, which I do not really understand how this is going to function, because the Kassadin will have a good time later on, I feel like, but
yeah,
this is so weird.
Kassadin's not going to struggle into the Anivia in the lane, but my biggest concern is just asking myself, is it going to be enough at this point? Because when you think of Kassadin, you think of the late game insurance policy that he provides. Level 16 basically means that he becomes a god on the map, but you've got a Smolder to deal with, you've got an Anivia to deal with, you've got Seraphine late game heals. There's plenty of late game threats and scaling on NDSU's side to make it difficult for Kassadin to be the sole guy taking over the late game. So I do think that this kind of shifts my focus over more toward the early game, honestly, if I am MIU. You've got that late game insurance policy, but you've also got a Sylas support and a Lee Sin jungle. These are two guys that want to scrap and want to skirmish. We said it earlier in the draft. So if you can kind of immediately go for some aggressive plays, whether it be from invades or just aggressive pushes or aggressive trades, what have you, and then bridge that gap over to the Kassadin, MIU shouldn't have a lot of struggles in this game, but I feel like them being almost too lax in the early game is going to result in a much harder post 20 minutes because of what is on the other side here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking over on the other side, and I'm looking at the Udyr specifically. Udyr, to me, screams solo queue-esque style, and whenever I see solo queue, it's very much play aggressive, play to get whatever I can personally, and you're hunting for very unorthodox positions. So if we're talking about that lax position, I mean, that Kassadin is primed to get caught early. Maybe not so much in the damage position against the Anivia, but you pair an Udyr and Anivia, and suddenly you gotta burn Flash, you gotta burn that Rift Walk, you gotta get out of dodge very, very quickly. Same with the bot lane. Even.
Yeah, I mean, the Ice Wall does a lot for making the Udyr ganks a lot more effective. Normally, you would be very worried about his ability to have influence, particularly in that mid lane, because Kassadin can just kind of walk away, right? But having that wall means that there's no way to get around it, at least not until you hit level 6. And so Udyr can just walk at you. So that does create maybe a combo for them to try and create some pressure post level 6 onto this Kassadin, set him behind. But they don't necessarily have to be the ones being aggressive. I mean, NDSU are so good at just being able to turtle. These champions are more than happy to say, we'll farm under our towers and like just kind of, when the time comes, we'll go for team fights. I do not think that there is nearly enough aggression on MIU's comp to be able to break the walls that NDSU will both literally and figuratively building in this game.
Yeah, I'm wondering how many Gathering Storms we're going to have in this game as well. That's the other side of it. It's like, are we going to have 5? Are we going to have 6? Are we going to have 7? It's
Approach
like,
velocity, Lee Sin.
Yeah, no, do not listen to that. Please do not. That is terrifying to think about. No, don't. Anyone that just heard that is Quacks making a joke. I know he doesn't make that very often. He's very serious about his drafts. Don't do that on Lee Sin in the jungle side. We are looking at this position, though, where the other, you mentioned it a little bit for NDSU, for Bison Gold, the idea that we do scale into the late game if we're willing to sit, are you willing to do that even while seeing the threat of a Kassadin? Because we know Kassadin is a late game monster as well, and I know you said, like, as a team, NDSU are good in the late game, but as a player, are you willing to still kind of put that mindset of we can fight in the late game, we'll take our chances with the late game Kassadin?
I mean, I'm doing the math here, and I think that 3 late game scaling threats is better than 1 late game scaling threat. So
I mean, yeah, but like Kassadin counts for like 2, doesn't he? Like we see
yeah,
what
but like
Kassadin's can
Smolder
do.
counts for like 2.5.
Okay, that's the other side of it.
Yeah,
I love it.
I mean,
okay.
I just think that it's so difficult for MIU to actually punish the Smolder. Like, you're so short-ranged. You have to fully commit. He's going to have teleport as well, plus a Seraphine with heal and Guardian. So, 3 Turbo Turtles. She's just going full defense. It's going to be really difficult if this game goes to late, I think, for MIU to actually play out these team fights and break through to actually punish this Smolder at all.
Okay. You know, I don't know if you're a D&D fan, but you know the saying, three kobolds in a trench coat, right? Like, what would turtles be in? What kind of clothing would turtles be in then? Especially turbo turtles.
She's, you ever seen the movie Turbo? It's about the snail that becomes a race car. Yeah, probably that.
They're just in a race car? It's 3 turtles in a race car?
Well, no. The snail is the race car.
Ah, okay. So they're just racing across.
He gets like injected or like some like contamination water like splashes. I don't even remember. It's a terrible movie. But he becomes like super fast, and he's like a super fast snail, and he goes into a race, and all of the race cars are like about to run him over, but he has this like the Flash like streak thing happening, all while being a snail. So that's like maybe what I imagine.
Okay.
Again, the movie is awful though, so my like it's
What was worse, that one or the Emoji Movie?
aren't they both made?
Yeah, they both were. It's a rough call.
Aren't they both made by Illumination? I think. Okay, honestly, I don't know if Turbo is made by Illumination. I'm willing to bet that it's not, but I think just for the fact that the Emoji Movie is made by Illumination, I probably rank it worse.
Okay, that's fair.
That company is terrible at making movies. They made Despicable Me, and 20 years later are still riding the high of that thing.
All right. Before we get canceled a little bit with our movie decisions here, we're diving into this game.
No, we're right.
We're right. Okay, that's also true. We are looking at just a fairly quiet start to the game. A little bit of damage back and forth, but nothing too crazy. Both junglers opted for a top side start into a bottom side full clears by both of them meeting. This might be a meeting of the minds here in the bottom side scuttle.
Yeah, we can see that the priority for the bot lane is shifting in favor of MIU though. And Skylar, she has level 3 now, so very strong skirmishing potential with the Sylas. Plus that Lee Sin, we said we wanted this to kind of be the engine that MIU relied on in these earlier phases. We do see that Sage will get spotted out on the ward, but Lee Sin already onto the crab, has a smite available. Waiting to see if maybe the Udyr will face check, but it looks like Sage is just going to be going up toward that top side and trading for the crabs.
Yep, just doesn't want to cause too much chaos in the early game, which I do respect. Is going to leech like half a minion XP, not the worst thing in the world, but a start is a start at the end of the day. A little bit of CS discrepancy we are watching there on the bot side specifically. I believe Schmidia is doing quite well, which is leading, I believe, to about a 300 gold difference. Nothing too crazy, but it is nice to see for NDSU if they're looking to try and scale a little bit faster. Granted, I don't think they're really able to identify who has that gold lead, and split between 5 people, it could be almost nothing.
Yep. And we saw that ward, or not that ward, but that Scryer plant being hit by Sage. So did spot out that Hydra's was actually staying, opting to go for those tier 2 raptors right as they spawn, which means that he will be able to back with the double longsword. So going to still have that damage component of the Lee Sin active. There is a push in bot lane by Schmidiot and Turbo Turtles, so potential gank angle can be found by the Lee Sin, but they're going to just smartly back away. This is kind of the turtle mentality that we talked about. NDSU do not have to force the tempo of the game to accelerate because they are the ones that are frankly better in the late game orbital.
Yeah, I can agree with that one. On the top side, we're seeing yet another little fight here as Aaron is going to be knocking around Puggus Wuggus. These two have been dueling it out in the top side. But Puggus Wuggus has been the one on the lower end on the HP trade, but in the CS department, it's actually done quite well for themselves, but needed a little bit of help to get back on the recall. But because of that move, we are seeing our first invade by Hydra's. Hydra's getting a little bit of an advancement here on the Raptors. Stolen Soul is coming around the corner, only level 5. Able to sneak away, I think, one or two of those chickens, and now is caught on the wrong side of the map, trying to flash away, but you're burned and slowed. You are just dead. Well done by Bison's Gold to get first blood.
Yup, in the wall. That's exactly what we talked about. Hydra's used the W earlier to try and sustain against the camps, which means that he can't go for a ward hop. He can't escape. The wall allows for Sage to close the distance on the Udyr, collects his gold, and first blood over to the jungler of NDSU, but wanting to look for more is going to be stopped, though. It doesn't look like the kill threat will be there for MIU, but he is at least denied getting a camp on the other side as a reward.
Yeah, I like that kind of slow play here by Sage, just making sure not to do the same mistake that we just saw Hydra's do. A little bit of an interesting buy. Taking a look, it is Stolen Soul, I think, going a little bit more straight and narrow, looking for the Archangels almost immediately, trying to go for that defense, but because they kind of backed away, because Sage opted for the camp clear, it will be first straight. Hand it over to MIU. Pioneers looking to start that dragon stacking early.
And I like this. MIU, even though they lose the Lee Sin and Hydra's did go down, they still acknowledge the superior skirmishing potential of their comp. They are going to use that to really force a play down in River. NDSU, not going to challenge. Sage went for a reset off of those Krugs, and now has found himself on the top side. Grub's going to be up in about a minute and a half, and my eyes are going to be glued toward these solo laners. You can see that Hydra's is now moving up toward the top side. Maybe he can try and influence the prio ahead of this objective.
I like that idea. Just start getting your feet in the opponent's territory this time, maybe without dying. And we'll see if Hydra's can do that same with Sage, though. As you mentioned, though, it is still that farm game, and we'll definitely keep eyes on how quick that scaling goes and how quickly we do see those breakpoints landed. I believe Schmidt was on 33 or 34 count for the moment, which is on par for the moment. Remember, breakpoints are 125 and 225. On the top side, though, it's yet another gank as right through the right area. Aaron Omni will go ahead and ult on in, trying to bring a little bit of facebreaker around, but are they going to get it? You do have that revive available, so you're looking to run him downtown. Hydra, though, hops on in and gets a good kick backwards, but Puggus has a great tunnel to go for, and the exchange of ultimates and travel will be completed with no one going down.
There's always another tunnel. Puggus Wuggus manages to get on away. Sage as well, escaping with their life. The big thing is that MIU probably getting the better resets overall. Hydra's is still really strong as this Lee Sin. Aaron is going to be able to get a good recall in as well. Hydra's actually cancels his back. Maybe looking for Puggus Wuggus, but probably not going to be able to find anything. So it's all about just preparing for the grubs that have spawned. Curiously enough, Sage, despite being the first one to reset and get back onto the map, is opting to go for the bot side and not contest for those grubs.
I wonder if you're assuming, because he kind of tracked Hydras and understanding that they'll go bot to top as well, maybe you're looking to kind of contest up on the top side. It's a little bit of a big question mark as Puggus Wuggus stopped in the recall voluntarily. Is now taking a very late recall in that fashion. Stolen Soul in the mid lane, obviously trying to push as crazily fast as possible. We are seeing that invade, though. Take a look at the bottom side of that map. Hydra's keeping a lot of wards down across the entirety of the enemy side jungle. And just saying, guys, maybe we can get an advancement here. We see a little bit of space where the opponent is for Sage. They're a little bit left in the dark. Hiding out in Tribrush that I believe is currently warded. MIU will not be deterred or persuaded to go on in.
You can see that both junglers are in the vicinity. Hydra's, crucially, is getting his flash very quickly off of cooldown, so the playmaking from Lee Sin is possible. Maybe that summoner is what they need to try and push them over the edge to make a play.
Okay, and a little bit of an interesting as that's the encore turn on the side. What a call as Lee Sin kick lands. The Q works wonders. And it's MIU to pull off a little bit of a staggered but flashy kill.
It's okay, Turtles. We didn't see it. It's fine. It's fine. Listen, it's okay. Anyway, MIU get their first kill of the game, equalize the kill score here, and now it is just going to be pushed in this bot lane. Luckily, it's not the most consequential thing in the world, at least in the gold department for Schmidiot. Has the teleport on that Smolder, so we'll be able to pick up this wave. There's action in the top lane.
I love this call as well. You're trying to beat out that timer of the auto attacks. Aaron Omni, though, not willing to really follow through on that battle. Didn't want to take the chance, so will be able to recall safely.
Yep. Manages to get out there. Rek'Sai should be able to push in this wave and at least force the Zahen to miss a couple of minions, but our focus shouldn't be on the top side, Orbital. It should be 100% on this bot side. We do see the Dragon coming up in a little less than a minute. Pings are coming down here from NDSU to force on toward the remaining grubs, I should say, or not remaining. They're all up. And this is going to mean potentially being late toward the bot side. You can see that there is a good amount of vision control by MIU around that area. Not to mention Hydras is also channeling his back, so he'll be the first one likely redeployed in the bot lane once the objective comes up. And it just feels like MIU going to have superior footing once this battle ensues.
Still waiting for the big fight, as you were calling for. Still waiting for it to really occur. At the current moment, though, we are just getting that ward placement down. That girl Skylar dropping all the wards that she can, making sure to sweep out for the second Drake here, which I do appreciate. NDSU not really in a position to go for it. Hydra's there almost immediately. With a power push on the top side, though, it is Aaron Omni to take in this 1v1. Good bird coming out with the Leandries, which Aaron Omni is recognizing at the very end here, but with the turnaround with those minions gone, Aaron Omni might be losing their revive ability. It will be ticked. You resurrect up. You don't have that much HP. I love the spread on the other side. Granted, you were the distraction at the end of the day. You might actually walk away here as you're looking for the last few autos, and you will survive at the end. So free Dragon, and Aaron Omni survives as well.
Yeah, Aaron Omni saw that the Anivia was moving up, didn't want to look for what would probably be a 1-for-1. I don't doubt that he had been able to kill the Udyr in that exchange, but he probably sacrifices his life to do so. Makes the safer play, understands that his team is actually getting a lot done on the bot side. The pressure is continuing in the bot lane, and the Dragon was also claimed by Hydra, so second Drake here for MIU does put them one away from Soul Point, and is maybe going to force NDSU to get a bit aggressive. We talked about how important it was that this comp scale up, but so far, they haven't really been able to have the time in order to fully effectively get to these big item breakpoints. Anivia just got the Roa and is now starting to stack it. Smolder is still a very long ways away from 225. A lot of these big late game threats that NDSU kind of built around, they're being forced to maybe fight in a position that they don't want to go for.
Yeah, and being forced to fight out of position leads to very treacherous positioning that can cause you your own doom. Puggus Wuggus, multiple tunnels out and available, but Aaron Omni is starting to say, if I can duel 1v2, I can absolutely do a 1v1. Puggus Wuggus trying their best to dance between the auto attack resets and get some damage down that way. But it really does feel like the top lane has turned around in so many different fashions. This Rek'Sai hasn't really gotten off the ground as neatly as you would like.
Yeah, Rek'Sai not really used as a big lane dominant pick, just kind of used to neutralize a lane. So far has been doing that. I mean, Aaron Omni hasn't gotten any kills in this lane, but Zahen, another champion that still has its own efficiency once the game rolls down to be later. Ultimate going to be dropped there by Silas just to get the cycling to be efficient. Doesn't actually end up dealing a lot of meaningful lasting damage. So it's just going to be Mom waving hello, but it's not actually from her son. It's from Silas. He's been bird watching. He knows how to imitate the sounds of flying animals.
I don't know if it's so much just a sound. It's just someone screaming into the void, right? Just Mom, just screaming.
Yeah, but how
their
many
head
people
off, so.
scream Mom in Runeterra? If everyone was
That's
doing
actually
that, and Smolder's mom wasn't able to, differentiate what the sounds like, what the voices sounded like, every time someone screamed Mom, a dragon would light a house on fire. And the fact that Silas is so good at it that Mom actually does come down just proves his skill.
That is true. That is true. The escaped convict learning ways to be very efficient and stay out of prison.
I know.
One of those is bird watching, so, you know.
Yeah. It's like that, what's that one movie? It's like Now You See Me. Have you ever seen that film?
Oh my gosh, I love those films. I do love those.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the
Where
most
he,
recent
where he,
one,
co-
but I
where
do
he
love them.
copies Mark Ruffalo's name or voice. on
Oh
the
my
walkie.
god, that was a very fun moment. I did like that moment. That was good. Right now in the mid lane, though, it's a magic trick of a disappearing chicken.
Oh!
The poor chicken is cooked by 3. As yet again, it's this position of MIU to bring 3 against 1 and take an assured kill.
Yup. The chicken is going to be sliced and diced, boiled, undercooked, and over easy. MIU getting their second kill of the game. Expending a good amount of resources to make it happen. So I like what we're seeing here. Hydra's, I think, is making it well worth it. You get not only the kill, but you're going to be getting the Herald on top of it. This is what is going to allow you to maybe get some priority ahead of this dragon in about a minute. Remember, MIU get this Drake, it's soul points. So that win con going to stay alive. And NDSU, if they're forced to fight the dragon, that's one thing. If they're forced to respond to a Herald and then walk into the river, that's even worse.
And I think for MIU, for the Pioneers, it's also stated that you can actually see where the game plan is really rotating around. You know, this Lee Sin and the Sylas, we weren't really expecting it, but they have been a force to be reckoned with, right? You have a little bit of safe scaling inside of the mid lane, inside of that APC and the bot side with that Malzahar, and you just apply pressure everywhere else with the Sylas, with the Lee Sin, until the rest of the team gets rolling. And they mentioned it, right? They are very comfortable with putting a flexible frontman, whoever gets that priority pick, to be at the front of the game. And I like what they've done so far. They are sticking with their plan of, we need to make this comp work, which is get an early lead, focus on the Dragons now. We put more pressure onto NDSU in more ways than one, which right now is another great way to do it. It's another rotational gank in. They are going to look, but Sage is here to actually battle it out. Instead, Encore stolen and sent back the other way, but only catches 1. The true Encore, though, is going to be more than enough to burn Hydra's head. Flash forward by Sage, get a knock on the back of Roaming Zephyr, and the burn from the Udyr means Sage is a monster triple for the jungler themselves.
MIU get absolutely roasted. Sage with the triple on the Udyr, like you said, and now Dragon stacking stalled here by NDSU. Soul point going to be denied. And a lot of gold given over to the Udyr as a result. This is going to make him so much more tanky, so much more hard to take down. And once he starts getting some of that magic resist under his belt, you can already see that he's got the Merc treads, but it is going to mean he will be very durable in these future fights. So just furthering his ability to build up some of those defensive items and be unkillable in the late game.
Which actually applies a little bit more pressure down onto Aaron Omni. I think when you see the magic resist, this is also why I personally just really hate double AP compositions. It feels very easy to build against because it forces you as a double AP to actually go more magic pen. At the same time, it's so easy to build against, and so for Sage and you're like, this is great. I don't have to worry too much. I do have to worry about Aaron Omni. If Aaron Omni is able to get fed from the top lane, then you might need to be worried. But Aaron Omni also isn't like truly fed. It's just in a little bit of a CS lead. Outside of that, not much more to play for. So right now, Sage and is like, I can do whatever I want.
And he really is doing whatever he wants. He's actually opting for the armor, which makes me look really stupid because I said he was going to be going for magic resist, but maybe just trying to pay a little bit more respect over to Hydra's, who is now dropping Herald. I don't believe this is actually low enough for it to one-shot the turret.
You're definitely going to try or look at a knockup instead. You're rotating around, just trying to bump them out and away from the tower. That is definitely one way to do it.
It charged anyway.
Shutdown for Hydra's. And yes, it does charge. It takes 1 plate out by Hydra's. Tricky, tricky, tricky from what MIU is pulling off here.
He gets the title of Drift King here in this game, manages to find that kill onto Sage, shut down the Udyr before he becomes too big of a threat. It is also going to mean first brick given over to MIU at the exact same time, so opening up the map a little bit more on this top side, which is valuable once the Baron comes up, but Orbital, our attention is going to be glued toward this bot side, at least for the next couple of minutes, because it looks like NDSU are going to respond with a turret of their own on the bot side, and that is going to be, I feel, way more consequential than the top lane tier 1 that we saw fall, because it means so much more control ahead of these future Drakes.
With the Drake battle going over an Ocean of all things, it makes me very scared. I feel like Ocean will be the make or break situation because both teams benefit so much from just the extra healing in there. Because not only are the resistances huge on either side, you just have like pure carries in there. Not only that, you have mana hungry champions like the Kassadin, like the Malzahar, like the Sylas, that need mana, that want to maintain a good mana change to spell real as quickly as possible. If MIU are able to get Ocean Soul, that means they will constantly fight you until you are depleted. Same with NDSU though, as that's Hydra's was looking. Hydra's tried. I give respect to the attempt.
I do too, but that's also Flash Burn, so Hydra's isn't going to have that playmaking potential and also won't have nearly the same level of slipperiness as he would if he had that Summoner spell up. Lee Sin, obviously still very difficult to take down, right? Does have a lot of innate mobility regardless, but speaking of mobility, there's absolutely none on this top side as both top laners are jockeying for a kill. Hydra's wants to get involved though.
Back. And there's a tunnel. Perfect tunnel available. Welcome to top lane, Rek'Sai.
Yeah, manages to get on away there. Hydra's seen on the top side, like you said, and NDSU a little surprised that they're not actually trying to reclaim control of this bot lane. You know that most of MIU are on this top side looking to establish vision and get some control over this side of the map, but that side of the map is not what we are going to be contesting in about a minute's time. Dragon in about a minute 5. MIU pretty unprepared at the current moment. There are those two wards adjacent to one another near the mid lane, but other than that, the map is completely dark for basically both of these teams.
I think that just, they don't really care. I love that fact so much. Normally we're very, critical of no vision, but with how they're moving and how aggressive they've been, I think MIU are saying we can take just about anyone in the jungle outside of the jungler themselves. As long as we're kind of playing our own, we'll be okay. Shuffle has great ways out of team fights or out of battles that they don't want to be in, so do you need wards when the objectives aren't fully up? No, not really. Now the objectives are coming up though. Dragon in about 30 seconds, so you are playing in that fog of war with the Ocean map available. That's going to be Sky's down, but Sage is about to walk into a very dangerous spot. And that's 2 in the bank. Quick burn, chain across the wall. Good flash over the side though as Mom is called from the back end, and now it's actually MIU. That might be in a bad spot. This will be a collapse straight onto the chicken once more as Stolen Soul has a soul stolen. It is not a good spot to be in. Double for the Kassadin. Shuffle is shuffling on their faces as up goes Aaron Omni. MIU watch NDSU scatter as MIU will grab their 3rd dragon.
Yeah, it's a good setup pick onto Sage. They managed to take him down. It takes a little bit longer because the Udyr managed to flash over that red buff, but they still end up getting the dragon. So now Soul Point going to be completed for them. But just that first dragon, or that one dragon being taken by NDSU, game stalled out for 5 more minutes. So we're going to have to see what they can do with this timer. I think that the Smolder is, I would imagine, has to be getting close to that 225 breakpoint. Can we get a stack check?
Take a guess. Take a guess. What do you think?
210. 210.
210?
224. All right. He's 1 more away. He'll have it by the time the next dragon spawns. We do also see that the Roa is fully stacked for Stolen Soul. So, yeah, these breakpoints are being hit by these carry champions, by NDSU. The other thing, though, is that Shuffle is very close to 16. We talked about it like it was the Doomsday Clock striking 12 because Orbital, it literally is. I mean, this is the end-all, be-all breakpoints of all breakpoints in League of Legends. So it's now a battle of the late games, and this is what we said was going to transpire. A lot of these post-20-minute fights were going to be the ones that dictated how this game was going to pan out.
100%. And to me, it goes back to that position of, you were mentioning that there's a late game on the side of NDSU. Shuffle is the OG late game insurance. Like, look at this. You are diving, you are killing, you do not care. And off that kill, you hit level 16. You got an extra boost because of the double kill that you had in the enemy jungle side. There's just so much benefiting MIU that the kill score does not really do it justice. Your 3 dragons in the bank. You have about 2k in the bank as well. As soon as you feel like it, you will start breaking down these extra towers. You can see it here. Bot side will fall for Shuffle. Mid lane currently positioned. The only reason that these towers haven't fallen faster is because MIU don't have a technical ADC. What they have is good burst here. So that's going to be another Petrifying Gaze, or at least the lockdown, not the Petrifying Gaze, but it's a hold onto that Schmidiot, who is able to walk away, still has 50% HP.
Plethora of flashes burned in that fight as well. Roaming burned it. Hydra's burned it. Schmidiot burned it as well. So a few key priority targets may be opening up for both teams ahead of any potential skirmishes. Still a ways away from the Dragon coming up, a little over 2.5 minutes. So that does mean both of these teams can do what they've been doing for 25 minutes Orbital, and that's going to beat it. Keep stacking.
Yeah. Keep going up and up and up, and that's what they're hoping for here. Eyes down on the bot side as Puggus Wuggus has been unleashed from the top end and just kind of roaming around, getting the farm where you can. For NDSU, though, for Bison Gold, you're looking at the squad. You have your Smolder online, but you haven't found a concise team fight. Are you really just waiting for one of those global objectives, or are you able to find a fight anywhere else?
That is the question. Skylar, she's walking awfully close to enemy territory. Be very careful.
Yep. Good read. Good understanding that it felt like there was someone posturing inside of that river brush. Couldn't really fight it, so had to walk away. It's good info, though. You recognize that there's at least 2 or 3 on the bot side, so Aaron Omni is able to push on the top end quite alone. They will send 3 for MIU, as Dragon will be up in a minute and a half, and you want to get control over this side of the map whenever possible. Mom stolen away once more. It looks like Saginator has actually roamed off on the side flank, so everyone kind of dispersing on the side of NDSU.
We saw teleport coming in there from Stolen. Still a minute until the Dragon, so we can see that Aaron Omni is still applying pressure onto that top side, so it's going to be Puggus Wuggus forced to respond to him instead of the usual Anivia. This will allow at least a little bit more gold to go over to the Zahen before he inevitably resets to join up with the rest of his team. MIU, though, you can see on that bot side river, very in control of that area ahead of the Dragon. NDSU are going to find it very difficult to walk in here without getting significantly chunked, especially without their Rek'Sai. You don't really have like a mobile frontliner on your team. You have the Udyr to be able to tank up some damage, but what's the Udyr going to do with the amount of stickiness on MIU? I mean, there's also just so much damage from this Kassadin.
I mean, so much free damage as well. Another push out as you get recognition. Mid lane is where they are looking, though. Really nice pop of that tower to give a little bit more space to the side of Bison Gold. Still on the top side, watching a duel of the top laners as, again, they barely do damage to each other. Both of them sitting at about levels 16, 17, roaming on to 18 shortly. Bot side is still that trail, though. Sage leading a majority share of the members of Pioneers on a wild goose chase, as both the teams do feel a little bit lost until this Dragon is coming up. You know, that Dragon heralding a call from both sides. For MIU, it's a sole point. For NDSU, it's just trying to stop the Dragon stacking.
We can see that Shuffle has a really good position in that fight because of the wave that was pushed up on the bot side. He's able to kind of sneak into this crevice. NDSU are pushing forward. And instead of looking for a flank, it looks like the Kassadin and the rest of MIU are going to meet them 5-on-5. This is how real men do it.
Yeah, no wave setup, by the way, so no one's going to be pressured out. It's literally just fight for fight, and they're going to look for it here. Dive on in by Skylar, and they're going to try their best, but they're inside of the snowstorm, and the damage in the backside. Well done by Shuffle to at least get one, but are you going to get more? No, the burn on the back end by Saginator has cooked them where they stand. The chicken gets revenge, as that's going to be more than 2. Aaron Omni trying to stay alive for a moment, though the resurrection will only last for a moment.
God,
Gets him back, and as Turbo is down, what is going on? Aaron Omni makes it so hard.
They can't kill him.
A free rejuve. Nethergrass on the back end. Fight number 2. Glacial Storm, though, will lock you down, and NDSU come out the victors on top. That's going to be set against the wall, as this is Puggus Wuggus take out roaming Zephyr. And at the end, it's a delayed ace.
And it is a very bloody, very messy, very chaotic team fight, but NDSU are the ones that stand tall despite it all. They denied the soul, and MIU are going to be needing to wait 5 more minutes and continue to stack their champions and their late game insurances for the time being. But I mean, all while you're stacking your late games, look at Schmidiot. I mean, he's deployed onto the top side you now are giving side lane over to a Smolder, so he's going to keep being a threat. We saw the damage from Anivia as well. The more items that come through from this carry, the more difficult it's going to be to reclaim space away from that ultimate that'll be just chunking you out every single second. The game is getting worse for MIU. They are still in this one, and they still have a level 17 Kassadin, but like I said, 3 scaling threats are better than 1.
You know what? You win that call 100% there, Quacks. We are looking at the scaling becoming a menace on the side of NDSU, and for MIU, a squad that has historically gone ahead and beaten the Bison Gold squad, kind of sitting here like, dang, like this is a fresh team. For NDSU, you're very proud of the fact that you are fighting toe-to-toe. Are you a little bit down in the Dragon score? Sure. Are you up in Gold score? Can you tell? Yeah, no, but you're doing well, and you definitely feel like you're holding this draft from them. Has yielded results, at least to get them to the point of 30 minutes into the game. Will you be able to take victory now? Will you have the confidence to go for some of these fights where you just saw that you can win?
Big thing now really has to be, I think, that Baron as well. If you can get a singular pick onto any member of MIU and transition that into pressure on the top side.
Oh, nice. Like this burn right now. It's Aaron Omni, though, to go ahead and ult on out to safety. I never knew that, you know, Zahen actually has good amount of speed, but yeah, you're out of there. You don't want to take that chance.
Shuffle and Hydra's moving together. One thing that I think has been a huge thorn in MIU's side this game, as far as trying to make picks and look for more aggressive angles, has been that tier 1 turret still standing in mid lane as Zahen is being forced onto again.
Yeah, but there's a teammate around the corner. There was a TP up towards that mid-range area, but the burn is a little bit too good as Inca's shuffle. I love this call. TP to the tower, chase him away. This is a level 18 Kassadin as well. Solo on the other side is going to force away a roaming Zephyr, and this is a fight on 2 different fronts. Zanya is going to be popped here, and Aaron Omni doing their best to try and battle everyone out. In goes Puggus though, and saying, hey, guys, can we bring another fight? Mob from downtown does a little bit of damage and allows the catch on the back end. It is NDSU to team fight their way to 2 kills as they will look to pressure down the top side tower and match the tower that Hydra's got on bot.
Yeah, so it is going to be a tier 1 taken by NDSU, but they see Lee Sin on the bot side. They know that he's split pushing. This is just a free Baron. They may concede a few minions, maybe give over a couple of plates to the Lee Sin, but it is well worth it. You get the kills, and now you've got the Nasher. NDSU have been winning the last few team fights, so if they can win a fight with the Baron still active, they can get so much gold with this objective.
That is the important factor. I think at the end of the day, we've seen teams get Baron and then lose Baron just as quick. You mentioned the plates that were handed over. Hydras was able to grab it, but it was a misplay, I feel, from Hydras, who in the early game looked a lot more decisive, a lot more in control of where they want to play around the map. And being on the opposite side of where Baron currently is being played, NDSU call that bluff. And now with Dragon in about a minute, which will be about, you know, a minute and a half into Baron itself, I wonder if NDSU are able to kind of draw MIU into a much longer game yet again.
This Baron buff going to be very instrumental in giving you that much needed prio ahead of the Dragons. Yeah, this still is Soul for MIU, so you can't be putting your foot off the gas. We can already see that a lot of NDSU have gravitated toward this mid lane, but we're just going straight up fighting here in mid. I mean, this Rek'Sai is super tanky with the W passive. Zahen is a healing champion, but he can't keep up.
I mean, he's doing it. He's trying his best as he ults on in, gets the last few autos, so he will have the reviver maybe available for themselves. Puggus now eating a couple tower shots as well, and says, all right, I don't want to do anything. I burned the ult. That's perfect.
God.
Mid lane, though, being chewed down as NDSU starting to get some pressure around the map. That is the 4th tower to go down. Sageinator now calling for a little bit of backup inside of enemy territory as that Udyr is starting to get so much room. And pressure down as to end off this clip, we look up towards the top side where Aaron Omni does not enjoy what might occur.
Yeah, Aaron Omni has to make a tough call here. He can either abandon the top lane and surrender this turret, join his team for this future Dragon, or he can just, like the rest of his squad, abandon the tower. Or option 3, they overload on the side and look for Puggus, but he's got the portals.
And I just don't know if this is worth it. 5 members on the top side. Puggus is out.
There's
you really
no way.
didn't make this worth, because look at where NDSU are currently playing. They're on the bot side. They get the Dragon. And much like early on the Baron, they go, cool, we got the global objective.
Yep, and we put ourselves on Soul Point, right? MIU are comfortable being able to make that side lane play and overload top in order to get Puggus Wuggus because they know it's not the most consequential thing to lose the 3rd Drake. Losing the 4th Drake, though, is going to be potentially game-losing.
Sageinator, maybe in the wrong spot. Good kick, though, and the Encore slows them all down. Nevercraft on the back end to try and keep Schmidian away. But Schmidian is now caught. Schmidian! You barely get away, but you're burning down to the space. That is difficult to deal with as roaming Zephyr catches Schmidian unawares.
Yeah.
And MIU are going for the pick game here.
Yeah, Schmidian, I feel, with just a really, really silly mispositioning error, could have easily been behind or adjacent to the Seraphine, but opted to misposition himself, isolate himself. Speaking of isolation, Shuffle is alone, but he's a level 18 Kassadin. He should have no issue getting away from this.
I mean, we say that, but you can see Sageinator is like, dude, I know you have no mana. What a catch on the mid lane, though. Has to jump and a half. Poor Skylar meets the bottom of Puggus Wuggus' feet and will lose her life. Unfortunately, that Silas is down for a 3rd time this game.
Silas going down here. Really hasn't been able to... Honestly, I say that the value of the Silas support has been questionable in this game outside of the initial, 5 to 10 minutes of the match, but they were the one that managed to find the pick onto the Smolder, so not really sure where I'm at in terms of how useful this pick is, because 1 minute it's not doing much, the next minute it's catching a crucial member off of a misposition. I'm a lot of mixed signals here.
Mixed signals, I think, are good when you're in a situation like this one. For MIU, the signals have been mixed the entire game long. It feels like they're fighting against a brand new squad of the Bison Gold. And if they want to keep their record of dominance, saying, hey, we want to get our nationals off to the right start, you need, I think, a little bit of that unknown factor. If the Silas is something new that they pulled out for the playoffs specifically, that might be interesting as its own. However, right now, Sageinator is running interference here on the bot side, looking to try and allow Puggus Wuggus more freedom to push on up. We are reaching max builds, by the way. We're 37 minutes into the game. Nobody can really buy up more, so it is about a lot more about positioning of the players, a lot more about positioning of the champions that you decide to put in different lanes, much like this, where Aaron Omni is having a tough time fighting against Stolen Soul.
Yeah, you're never going to be able to siege up against a level 18, almost full build Anivia at this point, so you might as well back and join the rest of your squad, because we're looking at mid and we're looking at bot, and the NDSU have control of those waves. MIU are looking for a pick, but they only have like 2 members in the area, and at this point, that's not enough to burst down anyone. In fact, I don't think anyone is really getting bursted down at this point in the game. We're all tanky enough to at least have some counterplay to the enemy team's damage, I think.
Yeah, not only that, there's an Ocean Dragon on a few of the sides, so obviously the healing's gonna come through. Both sides are just like, dude, it's gonna take forever. We're gonna watch a slog of a battle, and just, you really wish there was like a Jinx on one side that had the consistent auto attack damage at this point. But it's a Smolder, and Smolder has good damage output, but it's still gonna take a while to really reach that threshold. You can see Shuffle, though, taking a huge chunk out as Sageinator. With Dragon up in a minute, though, and NDSU don't want to lose any ultimates, any flashes, or any body.
Before we get to the Dragon, I want to see another Smolder stat count. How many stacks does Schmidian have? I'm going for like 400. Okay, 337. So, still really solid. Good wall there to prevent the back cancels by Aaron Omni, but maybe gives his life for it.
And I don't think you really enjoyed that one. You're now going to get over to the tower, but is that time a little bit too far? NDSU are going to use the chicken as a little bit of bait, and they're going to cook the rest of MIU. That's another execute. The Smolder at 335 stacks is yielding results for the side of Bison Gold.
And now, I mean, we've got 40 seconds on the death timers, plenty of healthy members. We've got a Seraphine, for crying out loud. I mean, it doesn't get much more self-sustaining than that. MIU only have 3 members alive, but it looks like instead of opting to end the game, the Sage is walking back. They want to maybe try and look for an inhib. Guys, where are we going?
They got to make a choice, and now they turn it around. They realize how much damage they have. They've recognized their confidence level should be sky high. Puggus Wuggus looking to channel as the Nethergrass holds him down. But Shuffle is nearly deleted on the back end with a single Q from Schmidiot. With the damage done, with the lives lost, and the Nexus Tower is falling, NDSU are able to take one step towards their revenge against MIU. Will the encore be enough? I do not think so. GG's game 1.
Hang on. My pen doesn't work. Wait, now it does. Bring us back to cam producers. Yes.
I mean,
right,
that was beautiful. Yeah, write it out, write it out. Write your thoughts out. What do we got? What do we got here, Quacks?
Can we see it?
I see
One is greater than 3.
Yeah!
Right? 3 is greater than 1. 3 scaling threats are greater than 1. I need to put it in label. I need to tattoo it. I need to scream it to the world. The 3 scaling threat comp is more proficient in the late game than the 1 scaling threat comp.
That's all that matters at the end of the day. Get more scaling, wait 35 minutes, and you will take victory. Looking at the next, though, I'm very curious to see if we are going to have Pioneers be able to bounce back in that same fashion, because you know they have plenty in the tank. They've been in this situation before. They've fought against Bison Gold multiple times. I do want to see if they can bring it to a close. So we'll see if they can bounce back, force us to a game 3, or will Bison Gold take this series to 0 and get revenge for the regular season matchups. Don't go anywhere. The NECC will be right back.
You're gone. They say time should heal, but it's been too long. Couple months and I can't seem to move. I can't seem to move. I can't seem to. used to view you as a mountain that I couldn't climb at first. But I've only stumbled over diamonds, and I no longer fear the worst.
You'll still have common days. Forget someone's name mid-conversation. Count your tips at the end of your shift. Buy something disappointing off the internet. This is not one of those days. A few weeks a year and you'll discover the most uncommon time of your life.
Find your calling at nationalguard.com. Quacks, we just watched a little bit of an uncommon situation occur once more as Bison Gold, a team that has lost historically to the Pioneers, actually took game number 1 and are on their way to possibly take game number 2.
Yeah, it was a really fun game number 1. I mean, it was all about the scaling and controlling the space in the late game, and Bison Gold managed to be the ones that won in that front. So congratulations over to them for taking game number 1, but job's not finished, right? You have game number 2, and now Pioneers Esports. I am hearing, Orbital, that we are actually having a roster change come through from them, so deciding to switch it up a little bit to try and claw back this series.
And the thing is I don't know if that's going to, if all the strategy in the world can compare to maybe the power of friendship or maybe a different uncommon trait that the squad has to offer. For Bison Gold, we mentioned for them that they're coming into this a little bit on the underdog side. They're the squad that has to kind of show themselves here. We mentioned that they got the power of friendship, the fluid playstyle, as well as a little bit of a confidence. Who's going to grab the spotlight? So I want to pose to you, Quacks, when we watched that game 1, what really stood out to you in terms of how they played or how that game progressed for Bison Gold?
I mean, one of the things for Bison Gold that really stood out to me was the unconventionalism. First of all, I felt like they played a very unorthodox game, but also that teamwork that we kind of talked about, right? I mean, this like togetherness that they have displayed, and it was one of their uncommon traits. They were playing as a unit, they were playing as 5, and it really showed there. I think even when we were a little bit worried about the Pioneer Esports' scaling and them being able to make plays, we always kind of had it in the back of our minds that if Bison Gold could win out on those late game team fights, if they could just scale up to that area and play the 5v5s, they should on paper be able to win those, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I mean, it was really fun to hear. I believe 4 out of the 5 players on Bison Gold have quite literally played with each other for like multiple semesters together, and it's very rare that I think in collegiate that you even hear teams they are actively able to keep the same roster for a couple years going. Normally when you and I talk about collegiate, it tends to be more of like a really good organization, a really good facility, one that brings a lot of the coaching staff together, and they build this foundation and bring players in to fit that group. To hear that Bison Gold are specifically like, dude, we're just a bunch of friends that have played together for like 4 semesters onwards, it's so nice to be able to see. But you don't get to use the same champions anymore. And I think that is going to line a significant challenge for them moving into this game 2. They are still on blue side though, so that is a benefit.
Yeah, so they will have the luxury of first pick, obviously being on that blue side. But I'm wondering, because we are in a fearless world, Orbital, what kind of style we're going to be seeing from both of these teams moving forward. Because a lot of the big scaling options being removed does mean that you might be shoehorned into going a route that is more proactive, maybe a bit more skirmish heavy in the early game. We did see a good amount of fighting in game number 1, but none of it was really consequential, right? It all kind of, the big things that matter were stacking those dragons and then fighting post 20 minutes. That is what determined the game. Everything before that can kind of be labeled as a nothing burger, if I'm being completely honest with myself. Now, though, I'm wondering if we're going to be seeing comps that don't make the first 20 minutes a nothing burger and actually have consequences that could lead into a snowball, which is something that was non-existent in game number 1. We saw basically no snowballing.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we get to see a Lucian come out on the bottom side, maybe a Corki, get a little bit of that mix for the mid-game. Yeah, get a Draven out there, for Riftbound fans out there. You only ban 1. You don't ban all of them. You only have 1 ban on the top there. We are headed into game number 2, though, so let's go ahead and identify where those new champions are going to go. Like you said, maybe a little bit more focused towards that early game or mid-game. Don't give us a 35-minute slow burn and then work your magic. But so far, at least on the ban side, NDSU is saying it's still a good idea to ban out the Kayn. We really can't give a lot of this priority over to Hydras, who did okay on the Lee Sin.
Yeah. And I'm already getting really worried thinking about what MIU are going to be picking here in game number 2. That game number 1 draft was the stuff of nightmares, if I'm being completely honest with myself. Trying to be the color caster, the guy who predicts and kind of analyzes team comps, I got nothing. I am the first person in probably the entire color caster stratosphere to see a comp with those champions together.
With how much I've dragged RMC around to cast alongside me as well, I think he might match you. But I haven't seen that specific comp. I 100% agree with you, Quacks. It's been a world in some. We are looking at the same bans though, so far a lot of these champions are still taking off. So we can definitely focus in on the unique bans themselves. These are very targeted, very focused. The Wukong, the Azir, and the Kayn, all these still make a lot of sense. MIU, though, I think they're kind of applying for a different support ban, which makes sense. They ban out the Milio, leave the Nami. The problem is NDSU might have the chance to pick it up. I want to give a lot of faith over to 3 Turbo Turtles, who played the Seraphine, I think, extremely well come the mid to late game. But this time around, opts for the Karma instead. Says, I know the Nami's up, I want that shielding and the speed for the team.
Yep, so Karma being locked in here does open up the door for Ezreal Karma, one of the most premier bot lane duos in the game. Is MIU are just going to slam the Kai'Sa blind, which is a very bold statement. You need a lot of engage paired up with the Kai'Sa to make her work, which is why she's more commonly seen nowadays on 4-5. And also, NDSU are going to have plenty of time to react to good counters into the Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa really thriving in those extended trades. Well, if you go for like a short burst trade champion, such as the Lucian, or maybe even the Ezreal, that is, again, really good paired up with the Karma, then it feels like it's going to be difficult for the Kai'Sa to actually have value in the trade department. But Yanara kind of plays into that extended trading a little bit more. So both of these ADCs want to be jockeying for, proccing some of those passives, those late game lethal tempos. And with the Karma, I would probably favor the 2v2 for NDSU, but they're looking to extend the longevity of their fights a little bit with a Mundo. So getting a body in front of the Yunara. Both of these teams seem like they are going to be drafting around these 80 carries, as Brand going to be the lock-in here. Now, I will say this. Brand Jungle has made a little bit of a comeback. It did receive buffs, I want to say, half a dozen patches ago, and basically everyone ignored it. So it does have value. It's not confirmed to go in the jungle. It could go mid, but the possibility is there.
And I do like that HP burn as well when you see a Mundo on the back end. So even if it goes mid lane, I do respect it a lot here. I think taking a look at the side for Shuffle, who had an exceptional game, I think on the Castle and just couldn't really overwhelm the 3 Prios on the other side. I think if you are running a brand that is running into a little bit more team fight scenario, I don't dislike this by any stretch of the imagination. However, I will say for Ace, who is stepping in here, was originally a sub, was swapped out for Pioneers, they specifically said. This is not really a sub situation. This is a member rotation. This is another player that they have worked with specifically, and they use it as kind of that adjustment scenario. So I like the call of the Kai'Sa, but it is a drastic difference from what we saw before. Multiple bans, though, aim towards the top lane. It is a Renekton, a Set, and a Yone. So top lane kind of open for the pickings between Aaron, Omni, as well as Pugus.
So it is going to be the Brand in the mid lane. Now that is going to be revealed. NDSU have yet to pick a mid laner of their own. So I'm wondering what their response is going to be. I don't hate something like I was going to say something that can, maybe protect itself against the damage of the Brand like a Galio, or capitalize off of Brand being immobile, but outranging the Brand is certainly something that you can do as well. So Xerath going to be the option to just give some laning phase ease over to Stolen Soul, and then the Ambessa going to be the last lock in here. Now, it could be Ambessa jungle, Dr. Mundo top, but I think the opposite is probably more likely, as we do see MIU going for the Aatrox, so going to be the last pickup here. Feels like kind of a self-counter. I'm pretty sure Ambessa demolishes Aatrox, if I'm not mistaken. So, because you're constantly you're repositioning, so you can never hit those sweet spots.
Yeah. It's a game of whack-a-mole, and Mbessa is not an easy mole to hit at the end of the day. But I will say, another thing to take a look at, NDSU were the ones to ban the Xerath against Pioneers, so it is surprising to see it on the opposite side. I am personally a Xerath main. I pretty much exclusively play Xerath, which is really, really bad in the current meta, I think. But in this current situation, I kind of like it. It's again... I think Stolen Soul was the main player on the side of NDSU that didn't look super comfortable in the laning phase. Even on the Anivia, I mean, mid to late game was looking great, but I do wonder how long range versus long range will work with some of these ability kind of thrown out at the end of the day.
Okay, so it is Ambessa jungle, and it is Dr. Mundo top. So this does give a little bit of an easier time over to the Aatrox. I don't think he'll ever have the Mundo in kill threat, but he's certainly not at risk of being killed himself unless he royally screws up. So probably just going to be a stalemated top lane matchup, all things considered. But pulling my attention more toward that bot lane for sure, because Yunara and Kaisa really going to be the guys that want to carry the game from here on out. And honestly, for NDSU's comp, when it comes to building around Yunara, the biggest thing is having as many frontliners next to her as humanly possible. As we get faked out, not once, but twice. It is Ambessa top. It is Mundo jungle. So back to my original statement. This might not be a wet noodle fight in the top lane. This might legitimately be Puggus Wuggus with the counter into the Aatrox top with Ignite, mind you. So if Aaron Omni doesn't get going in the laning phase, that lack of teleport, at least until you complete the quest, could be something of consequence.
I like how Quacks not only has to predict 2 teams in Div 5 that obviously have very unique champions, he also has to predict our production team. That's a whole other challenge for a color caster, I think, at the end of the day. That is impressive levels of color casting right there. Oh boy.
I appreciate it.
It keeps you on your toes, you know, you're always guessing at the end of the day. Looking here in the mid lane, though, it is Stolen Soul versus Shuffle. These two will be very long-range and mage-heavy, but on the top side, Aaron Omni willing to go a little bit more spicy in the level 1, and we're already seeing the dances, but in the HP trade factor, considering Puggus Wuggus went with the Grasp of the Undying, Aaron Omni trying to force a little bit of a difference with that Conquer and try and get some extra damage down. Unfortunately, it's no dice at the end of the day.
You can already see some trading being done here by the brand. The combo of the Q, E, that empowered E, a point and click, just does so much damage in terms of being able to have that little bit of poke to match with the Xerath. So keeping that in mind for Shuffle, as we do see now both junglers, by the way, pathing toward the bot lane. Mundo, a very fast clear champion, so he probably will have the superior speed compared to the Viego, but I'm wondering if that is going to actually mean anything at the end of the day. It looks like Prio is being had here for NDSU on the bot lane, so maybe we can see Turbo Turtles roam up toward that crab, but all in all, it just kind of feels like as long as the Mundo is there, he doesn't even have to make anything necessarily big happen in the bot lane. As long as he's allowing this Yunara to scale, it feels like NDSU are in control of the proverbial time bomb.
And for NDSU, I think you're very comfortable with that factor. If you're able to hang on to your earlier success in game number 1, rotate it into game number 2 as well, I think you're quite happy about the current position that you're in. Play it soft, play it smart, and don't give your opponent any big windows. As you see Puggus Wuggus a little bit low in the HP department, we saw this happen as well on the Rex side. Didn't exactly have the greatest super early game, but it did stem from this bottom lane. We're already seeing a little bit of a dance with Sageinator roaming out from enemy side, as that's going to be a hook landing from girl Skylar, but it's going to be the tether in from a bush gank here, and they might have found Ace, who is stepping in as that sub, but big turnaround here, as that's going to be Hydra's looking to chop through this Mundo flash in from Shuffle, who gets a very nice pillar, and the fire burns away Schmidiot. Over the wall is a flash from Stolen Soul, though. You're in the Dragon Pit. What are you doing there? You don't have flash. You don't have anything. You're going to try and get first blood, but you had no mana. Stolen Soul has no mana, and MIU get first blood.
Yeah, that is a really unfortunate set of events for Stolen Soul. He flashed over the wall with the max range Q to try and finish off the little bit of damage, or a little bit of health rather, I believe, onto Shuffle, but wasn't able to do so. does leave himself with very little options in terms of escape, as the rest of NDSU were solo. They had to limp themselves away. So he gets picked off, burns that summoner spell as well. A lot of flashes were actually burned in that fight, so I am wondering if we see any kind of forced plays from either of these teams in response to that. Probably the most consequential flash, though, is going to be the mid laners, who are very immobile and very susceptible to getting picked if they overextend themselves.
Yes, very, very easily. The spell reel combo from both of these champions can be destructive, to say the least, but it's another bush, hide, and fight. We've seen a few times before. Good briefcase in the back of the head as Hydra's is going to run interference. Good smite to come out on the back end. But for Hydra's, maybe not enjoying that one too much. Still up, I believe, A camp. But that's a wave gone from Stolen Soul, who will be a little bit of XP down as well. Top side, Puckus Wuggus getting caught once more.
Ooh,
might not
Ignite.
enjoy this one, as it looks like Aaron Omni. I thought you said this was the counter pick against himself. Aaron Omni saying, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Does have the Ignite, so the kill threat is there. Doesn't get the kill, though. And now Puckus Wuggus. See, now this might be where the teleport comes in, because Puckus Wuggus is going to be able to TP either to this turret or this wave. Hang on, we got action in the bot side.
Yeah, a lot of action on top. Skylar looking after that hook toss, but nothing more comes of it. A quick TP around, though, as Aaron Omni shows off a little bit of strength as they get a solo kill in the top side. I have no idea what happened, but Sageinator just kind of eats that one on the back of the head.
Yeah. Level 6 was just popped there for the Ambessa, by the way. He opted not to go for the pick. Aaron Omni also has the flash, so would be able to more than likely react to that with that flash available. But MIU wins across the board. I mean, we talked about Aaron Omni being able to get that kill onto Sageinator, but because the Mundo spent time in the gulag and the gray screen, he's not going to be around to contest for this dragon. First one goes over to MIU, and despite the sloppy start in that bot lane play, burning a lot of flashes, MIU have done a good job at recuperating in these last couple of minutes.
Yeah, I think they've done a powerful job, and I don't know if that comes off the back of just a much more aggressive comp this time around, but we saw it back in game number 1 as well, where they were willing to expend, you know, multiple flashes, multiple ultimates just to get a kill. It feels a lot more powerful, and especially for Aaron Omni, who once again is kind of able to show their stuff. Back on the Zahen in game number 1, they were winning most of the advantages through the early mid game. It wasn't until the late game where they kind of got out-rotated. They were never really allowed to play their game, so for right now, they're still very much in control. 11.1k for themselves, about 2k over their opponent.
See a invade coming through here from the Mundo. He doesn't have the smite, so he's not actually going to be able to one-shot this camp. Level 6 just dinged over for the Viego as well. The camp reset! Oh,
I don't think Sageinator was going to get it either way, but for Hydra's, you're a little bit mid, but also, like, it's ours, so.
Thank you for the leash, right?
Yeah.
Like, appreciate that. As now, Hydra's just going to continue on, you know, pathing toward that bot side, all the while Sageinator is going to be taking a back. So, more gold being absorbed here by the Viego. Now also having that Heartbreaker. If you can get a reset here, it just means that the team fights are so difficult for NDSU to navigate in these early to mid-game skirmishes. Because now he is the one looking for an invade. Still no level 6 available for the Dr. Mundo.
Yeah, he's a little bit behind and not enjoying that one too much. Sageinator not going to have that strength that they had back on the Udyr. Definitely more of a back foot angle, which allows Hydra's to do stuff like this. Stolen Soul trying to run interference, but quite honestly, as Xerath doesn't have that great power in some of the earlier kits, you need a few items to work, and that's going to leave your jungler wide open for death. Will be a couple rights of the Arcane Slam down, but I mean, are you going to get the last shot? No, great dodges by Hydra's at the end. So it's 4 unchecked kills so far for the side of the Pioneers.
Yeah, MIU looking for a really aggressive timer. Hydra's understanding that he has level 6 advantage, and Prio is also there for mid, so Shuffle is able to move on over. They get the quick pick onto Sageinator. And like you said, it's 4 kills over to them.
Oh, that's enough.
Oh, shield.
Last tick. Nope. You are gone. Aaron Omni. Another solo in the top lane.
Really good start here for the Aatrox. Still also has that World Ender. He did burn that Summoner spell of the Flash, but I mean, ooh, hang on, hook lands.
I love that call, but again, the minions got in the way, so no further attachment on the back end. Instead, it's a turnaround as Ace. The killer is looking with the killer instinct to hook into the lantern for extra shielding on top. Survives through that transcendent state. Another hook lands on the back end, but it's only to slow down the initiate. And Schmidiot will go back to farming quite well.
So, looks like Ace is going to stick around for the time being. Has the flash plus the barrier, so there is still safety for the Kai'Sa to pick up this wave without threat of dying. A lot of pings coming through from both of these teams up toward the top side as the Grubs have been up for quite some time, but not focused down by any one particular team. Now MIU are going to be the first to go for it, understanding that the Mundo is far behind in tempo and shouldn't be able to contest these. The cost probably just going to be Brand losing a few minions under that turret.
Which honestly just feels like a matchup of what we saw Stolen Soul do earlier, just not as efficient, right? We saw Stolen Soul do it before. Hydras, though, inside of the pit, trying to hang on to that last grab, really wants all three and is able to get it. Now they're going to try and turn it around for a fight. And guess who's alone right now? Sagenator's on there, but perfect execution on the back end will fly in. Public, though, is the death of Sagenator once more. With the soul stolen, it's a charge. We're just outside of tower range as Puggus Wuggus cannot run, and Aaron Omni is on a killing spree.
Yeah, it's two massive swords plunging themselves into the Ambessa. NDSU's top laner goes down, now 0-2 and a 3-0 start for Aaron Omni. They're going to the bot lane. Ace the Killer forced to flash away, should be able to get out of there. Really good timer for Schmidiot and Turbo Turtles to look for that play, understanding that the Thresh is on the top side and it's a 1v2 situation for the Kai'Sa, but they still have the barrier. I don't think a dive is possible here, so it's grubs, it's plenty of kills for nothing. NDSU do not get a lick of resources off of a cross-map play.
And I really don't know if hiding in a bush is going to do you any good either. They're trying this bush tactic that they've done before, and yet it feels like everyone on the side of MIU has a way out at this point. It feels like you don't really have that major damage. I mean, Schmidian is still trying to farm up for their first item as well, and you're also looking at the Dragon where Shuffle 3-0-2 already has the Revitalize. Aaron Omni might not have the TP available, but I mean, it's Hydras with four assists in the back pocket. MIU, they mentioned that that they have a flexible, frontman. Who do they give that prio? And it feels like that flexibility has shifted since game number one. It's now shifting into Shuffle and Aaron Omni. Previously, it was Hydras, who on the Lee Sin alongside Skylar were trying to make things happen. Now it's shifted to these solo laners who are, in actuality, pretty well and ahead over their lane opponents.
Yeah, MIU did not like the loss that they were handed in game number one. They are looking for a clean game here. And so far, it has been pretty much perfect. No kills from NDSU, no objectives from NDSU, no turrets from either team, but, NDSU is one of those. So far, they haven't gotten anything in this game.
Yeah. All they've gotten is a little bit more death as Sagenator is getting run out of their own jungle, starting to lose a lot of the camp battles. 6 camps difference, I believe, is what they're at right now. Axe over the side of the wall is still landing into Hydra's way. And it's Puggus Wuggus who, I don't know if you can actually stay here under the tower. You need the rest of the team here, but it actually leads your jungle into the wrong spot. A laser from the sidelines does nearly nothing. And it's yet more kills for MIU.
And now Ambessa trapped under their own turret. It doesn't look like MIU are going to be fishing for more picks onto Puggus Wuggus. So it's just going to be the one kill, but MIU gradually widening that gold gap between the two teams. And NDSU, really, I feel like the big thing that we have to be looking out for, even though we have been very concerned at what has been happening for the top side, Schmidian is still farming decently well. He's 20 CS up over Ace, and the Yunara was what we said this draft was kind of centered around. So I think as long as that is in the game, capable of carrying, I'm not necessarily counting NDSU out of being able to come back just yet.
I can agree with that one. As that's just Shuffle annihilating this poor jungler. Sagenator is not reading the future. It's just like, dude, this hurts.
Yeah. It's like that, did you ever watch Steven Universe when you were younger, Orbital? Or, I mean, how old are you?
Okay, why are you putting me on blast right now, man? Why are you're just straight up that was just
that was a little bit disrespectful. That was
only a little disrespectful. Yeah, let's go with that.
There's a character in that show that can predict things that just happened, right? And they're like defective. Because they're a certain type of like they're like a certain type of person with like a purpose. I feel like that's kind of what Sageinator is right now. He's just like, oh, I see what's going on. Oh wait, I'm dead.
Yeah, you know what's gonna happen, but you can't really respond to it. You don't have the right answers. Sometimes the right answer is only a death in League of Legends. On the top side, Puggus Wuggus is saying the exact same thing. 0-2 right now. Not exactly the same position you were in with the Rek'Sai last time. You were sitting at a 0-0-0 stance for quite a while. At 15 minutes here, though, it is the Pioneers that are looking much stronger, much like their previous matchups against NDSU in the NECC Div 5 regular season.
Yeah, MIU now just continuing to fish for picks, and I got to give a lot of credit over to Shuffle, by the way. He is sacking a lot of resources and a good amount of waves to just link up with his jungler to try and look for picks into Sageinator's jungle. So that's the good kind of mid laner, you know? That's the mid laner we junglers all love.
Yeah, I mean, you love really, really nice mid laners that help you out and get you fed, much like this. As this is just really poor and unfortunate for Sageinator. Sageinator's trying, by the way. They are trying their best. As that's a public execution coming on out. Hydras is going to dip and dodge away, stay alive for just a little bit longer. Puggus Wuggus will eat the majority share of the damage on the back end as Hydras is able to live through the arcane barrage. Stolen Soul is not able to steal a kill back. And instead, it's just death in gloom on the top side of the map. Meanwhile, Schmidia and 3 Turbo Turtles are like, dude, we're trying to win down here.
Yeah, this game is quickly becoming super brutal for the side of MIU. The top side is a combined 0-11. Nothing is happening on the bot side of the map. It has been very, very quiet over there. And yeah, Schmidia, it's probably like, solo queue game PTSD, my friend.
It's a rough spot to be in, but there is a point where you do have to kind of pull that solo queue mentality. Hey, the rest of my team is not having a good time. We've lost out on a lot of lanes. A lot of mistakes have been made. How do we come away with a victory? Are we able to pull it away with just the two of us? Are we able to kind of communicate to the rest of the team? And it is something that we mentioned for NDSU. They're a squad that recognize that they're up against a very tough opponent. They know for a fact that MIU have beaten them before, and this is nothing out of the ordinary. It's you beat them once, though, so can you do it again? That's the question for NDSU here in this series. For MIU, though, it's getting back on the right foot. You said, hey, we've beaten them before. We've beaten them 0-2. We've done a lot of really good work. Let's do it once more. You know, kind of erase game one out of your memory.
Yeah.
Oh.
Omni looking for another kill. No energy for the Ambessa.
And now that's just a straight up dive, quick auto attack to finish it off, and we kind of expected that one as that's the tower to go down. Aaron Omni, though, with the tower down, is now going to look for a little bit of requisition as the Conqueror's stacks are up, and Sageinator again can't really do anything. You are 4 levels down, my friend. Sageinator is running, but you cannot escape the blade. And that's a flash over the wall as well, as that's Soul tried his best, but he gets knocked out of his ultimate, and now he's going to die. Aaron Omni slaps the sound out of our ears, claps 2, and walks away victorious.
And the World Ender is living up to his name. Aaron Omni continues to be flashy in this match, and now it's not going to stop at all.
Bot side gets a little bit of action, but it's not any extra as Schmidia, it's like, dude, you can't do the same thing that you did on the top side of the map. I'm still very strong. Flash away after the Killer Instinct. Ace is not going to get any freedom. Jump forward from Schmidia, who's like, play on the top side, not on the bot side.
Yeah, Ace almost going down there, ruining potentially the perfect game for MIU. They're still in perfect game here territory, by the way, Orbital. They could legitimately do it. I mean, Dragon is up in about 3 minutes. This would be Soul for MIU. They're nearly 10,000 gold ahead. We're getting close to 10,000 gold ahead, so the Dragon should be in their clutches. Most of the turrets are relatively healthy. If we get a perfect game here, that would be like the ultimate mental flex on the enemy team. It doesn't matter what happened in game number 1. Us perfect gaming you is like the biggest just like mental boom that can happen to a team.
And it makes me kind of wonder at the end, were MIU trying to test things out? You know, for Nationals, you do need a different kind of head on your shoulders. And their composition last game was a little bit unorthodox. You're looking at a Malzahar in the APC position with a Silas support, Cassidy in the mid. It looked a little bit awkward. Now you have a little bit more traditional composition. Maybe the Brand is out of position, but the Aego, the Aatrox, the Kaisa, the Thresh, these are all fairly within the meta. And it feels like they're right at home. I really do wonder if they were just kind of trying to test their luck and see how much they could get away with.
Yeah. MEIU, I think, are definitely wanting to play this game on the safer side because even though they are very ahead in this match, they're not ahead in this series, Orbital, right? So they want to play it as cleanly as possible to get to game number 3 in the first place. They don't want to give NDSU any quarter to try and come back here as more action on the bot side. It's 2v4. I think the perfect game is over.
Oh, that's such a great turnaround. Schmitty is saying, guys, I have the right idea. Let's fight. But now you're alone. Your support's not there. Another hook lands. And that is huge from girl Skylar. That girl Skylar pops off with the hook and gives 2 more back to MIU.
Schmitty overextends themselves, goes down. But the big thing, Orbital, Hydras is dead. Perfect game. No longer possible here for MIU. We did it, boys.
Raid boss down, and maybe a raid boss handed over as Sageinator's like, we finally got some sort of revenge. But still, as you said, for MIU, 1 death is not the end of the world. This is still a lot of gold in their favor. A lot of pressure around the map because that 1 death perfect game is not, you know, in their sights anymore. But a highly controlled game is a whole other story. 3 grubs are the name, 3 dragons. They're looking at Hextech Soul here in about a minute and 15. They could still get this game very, very easily.
Yeah. Dragon up in about a minute. MIU should easily be the ones to claim this. Even though NDSU got the 1 kill, I mean, it's not going to matter, right? Like, you're still 9,000 gold down. I feel like angles for a comeback really just aren't necessarily in the cards right now. And I guess while we have time, as maybe we don't have time, we definitely don't.
If you thought Sageinator couldn't last, you haven't seen a Xerath. The poor Xerath, who is 0-4-1 and just is not given quarters to play this game.
They haven't been given pennies to play this game, man. Yeah. They're broke.
It hurts seeing my main be 0-4-1, and I can't even fault Stolen. Like, Shuffle and Hydras have done amazing work on the side lane.
I have a we're back. I had a black screen on my side for a second there, but yeah, we are in fact back. Dragon is also up. MIU have sent everyone down toward the bot side, and there's just no contest possible here. I mean, we do see Aaron waiting in the wings, possibly looking to pick off anyone that tries to attempt to steal this. Baron is up as well. Honestly, if I'm MIU, if I'm super far ahead like this, like, just go to the Nasher. Force NDSU to a fight and wrap this one up. I mean, we're 22, almost 23 minutes into the game and already 10,000 gold up. This is about as good as you're going to get it.
Honestly, yes. And I do feel like MIU are playing with a little bit too much respect in their bank. They're still looking for these individual picks, which is not bad. Do not get me wrong, but at this point, I don't want to see a kill for kill's sake of, you know, sending a message to Sageinator. I don't want to see that. I want to see you get a kill, go for every objective on the map, and clear out the towers as well. They are going to go for the Baron, like it called Quacks, and say it is ours. You see the TP across the face, so NDSU know it's being done. You're not fighting it, though, at all.
Yeah, there's no way for NDSU to look for a steal. Frankly, even if they had Sageinator up, there probably isn't a possibility to look for that, as They're going to get into mid in time to actually salvage that tier 1 as well, so they don't lose anything off the back of committing toward that Baron. And it feels like this should be... honestly, MIU need to probably look for a play before Elder comes up. I think Elder is probably the only thing in the entire universe that can, other than like a EMP going off in all of the areas of MIU's players, that can prevent them from winning this game.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a game that will be lost by them and only them. I don't see any other way to put it. It is 100% fair to say, unless their PC goes out, unless they start walking in one by one, I really don't see them losing this one. It is going to be a 3v4 defense here for NDSU as they apply 3 in the mid lane. One tower was taken on the bot side, so Soul and Soul was able to get some gold back, but quite honestly, I don't think it's going to be enough. Top side being held by Aaron Omni, so it's a 4-1 push by the side of MIU. And Sagenator is just trying to clear a few wards back to back, but one still inside, which is a little bit too difficult to deal with. Hard force now, as that's MIU to call, and what a hook to land! Schmidiot had no chance whatsoever as they are deleted one by one. The tower will get an elimination on poor Shuffle's life, but the true damage dealers are the soul stealers of Hydras and the rest of the squad. MIU pioneer their way to a Nexus tower take.
It is only Stolen Soul up, but he has to cancel the ultimate. MIU may have been down from game number 1, but they are making a statement here in game number 2. A close to perfect game. 1 kill is all that prevented them from being able to complete that. I think in my 3 years of casting Orbital, I have never been so close to seeing a perfect game. I don't think I've hit that bar. That is definitely the closest I've ever been.
Yeah, on the casting desk is so rare. And I mean, a kill in a tower, that's it. Like, dude, that is phenomenal work. And not only that, after a game such as game 1, where you went like a 40-minute slobber knocker, you were going at it tit for tat. It was quite literally just like down to those finite moments. It is such a bounce back for the mental shift. And I give credit to the Pioneers for stepping up and saying, they're a squad that definitely needed to kind of flex their muscles here, but huge props to them to bounce back in the mental much more to their own meta strategy. You could definitely tell they were much more comfortable with these champions. It felt like they understood what they needed to do. They were really picking on the enemy jungler a lot more. Really well played. So eyes out Quacks. If we're looking at this Bison Gold squad who won game number 1, do you think they have what it takes to fight against the Pioneers who nearly swept them off their feet?
It's the mental game. I mean, getting almost perfect game it has to be pretty mentally deteriorating. So just kind of doing what Pioneers did in game number 1, right? Which is being like, okay, we lost, it's fine, recoup and regroup, and let's go for game number 3. And I'm super excited to see game number 3. But before we get there, we are going to take a small little break while we wait for the teams to gear on up. So we will see you guys on the other end of that. Don't go anywhere.
Forge Trials is presented by the Army National Guard.
need to fight is a world that's mine. Need a place to hide. Will you free my mind? Follow the light of a world that's blind. In your eyes I see there's a place for me. In your eyes I see there's a place
It is all down to this game number 3 between Bison Gold and Pioneers, a matchup that has been run multiple times. Bison Gold took game number 1 in an interesting fashion, but game number 2 was all Pioneers, very strongly losing by 1 tower and 1 kill to a perfect game. Moving into game 3, Fearless is on the line, so 20 champions have now been taken off the table forever from the series. Quacks, what are we looking at?
Yeah, I feel like we're going to be looking at just pure, utter comfort picks, right? We've been seeing those banned away throughout the course of the series. Now, I don't think that the bans are really going to be altered too much here in game number 3, but, I mean, that was a statement game. Game number 2, 1 turret, 1 kill given, that was it. So, I mean, like, Pioneer Esports are mega locked in, and it's really up to Bison Gold to match them at that level.
Yeah, and I think for Pioneers, you know, game number 1 was maybe a little bit of a wake-up call. And for them, their uncommon traits that we pointed out before, being very flexible in terms of who is that front man, who's going to be that spearhead of their composition, and it has flexed. From game number 1, it was a little bit more on Hydras. Game number 2 was definitely Aaron Omni. Aaron Omni took over this game, it felt, from the top lane. It led to Hydras being able to convert more and more throughout the middle of the map, which flowed into shuffles from there onwards. And not only that, just kind of bringing it back like, hey guys, we've beaten this team before. Why are we letting them take over that game number 1? Eyes are looking forward. They have all the momentum in the world. So my question is, do you think we are going to see a little bit more focus sent to the bottom lane that we haven't seen from Pioneers yet in this series?
I was really surprised at the lack of bottom lane attention, frankly. In game number 2, we talked about how instrumental the Kai'Sa and the Yunara were to making those comps function in a late game setting, in a 5v5 setting. But, I mean, I guess you don't need them to function in a 5v5 setting when you don't have 5v5s, period, because that was kind of what happened to game number 2. The top side just kind of got ran over in 3v3s, and not much use for trying to get the Kai'Sa ahead when you can continue to accelerate your Aatrox. So, yeah, I mean, maybe we'll see attention paid toward the bot lane, but frankly, if I'm going as Pioneer Esports into game number 3, I'm sticking to what worked, and I'm just playing fully for my top side.
Yeah, and it's very, very important that they do so because they are here in their Forge Trials. The Nationals very much underway for the Div 2 and below. They are fighting their hearts out to be crowned national champions of their division. Now, keep in mind, this is Div 2 and below so far. The reason being is Div 1 is starting a little bit later on, and the Div 1 Grand Finals of Nationals will be played in San Antonio, Texas, here in the Forge Trials come the middle of May. Be on the lookout for more information about that event, how you can get to be a part of it, and maybe if you can get into the venue and see all the teams in their IRL glory. That is the fun of it, because it's not only just League of Legends, there's also over Valorant, over Rocket League, and so many other titles that will be combined in all of the glory, and all of the championships will be crowned at that time. But we are here in the Div 5 scene. So Quacks, now yet another question, because I love posing questions to you. It's so much fun watching you try and answer them in one way or another. Do we see the sides stay the same? For the first time, Bison Gold will be selecting side. Do they stay on blue or do they go to red?
Honestly, if they want to just snag up mid jungle top first 3, like as Pioneer Esports, like I think that would probably be like something that I would be advantageous towards. So I actually wouldn't mind if I'm Pioneer Esports, I wouldn't mind going on red side, is basically what I'm trying to say for a third time, because I do think that being able to have that R3 counter pick is really inherently valuable when you are playing for your top side, which again, I'm going to look real stupid if I say and gas up Pioneer Esports' strategy without truly knowing it. Watch them give Ace the Killer like Draven and just fully index into playing for the bot lane. But again, I'm working off the assumption that Pioneer Esports don't want to get fancy and want to work with what has been successful in the past. And last game, the success came from the top side.
Yeah, that's true, that's true. Again, they don't really have that positional say, but they are hoping that Bison Gold will give them the red side. I can agree with you on that point. Try and give them a little bit more freedom. For Bison Gold, it really is, do they feel they're going to get any of that positional advantage? Do they think that they are going to get that freedom? And they do believe so. They themselves say it is our turn to kind of play towards that position, play maybe towards that bottom side of the map, maybe give a little bit more freedom in that direction, as they are on the red side for NDSU, North Dakota State University, doing their best to try and take the series and progress on in the Div 5 Nationals. Looking at the bans, though, it's more of the same. A lot of these comfort bans going to be taken away.
Yep, we do see the Lilia taken off the board. I would imagine Kane is going to be next. Yep, so it's just routine at this point. Orbital, for the third time, we are just going to be seeing the same champions round and round, band away here. And I guess that gives us, because we do kind of just have the blueprint for how these first 6 champions are going to be laid out in front of us as far as the bans are concerned. It gives us a little bit more time to, I guess, look at what we want to see in game number 3 and kind of track back to the history of this series, because this isn't, like you said, the first time these two teams have met. It has been, however, a very lopsided and one-way rivalry. And I think that Pioneer Esports understand this team very, very well that they're going up against, and just being able to play around that top side probably going to be the plan. I mean, we didn't see a ton of topside action in game number 1. It was more just about the scaling in the team fight. So I do think Pioneer Esports function a lot better when they can be the ones dictating the tempo and not leaving it up to the other team to possibly just scale on up and meet them in the 5v5s, because it's a lot harder to hands check the enemy team in a 5v5s than it is in a 1v1.
That's 100% fair. We'll see if it does get to the hand check moment, because we do have a little bit of a shift in the ban system. So keep in mind that it was the Braum last time that was banned in game number 1, an optimal swap for Pioneers where they banned the Milio and the Nami instead, so both utility enchanters, and starting to say, hey, we're going to be focused on the opposite direction. A ban that was brought out, though, in the final rounds is going to be opened up, though, for NDSU. Poppy was banned out in the second round in game number 1. This time, let's open in game 3. So as you said, right now, Quacks, we are getting the comfort as we get heavy scaling in the bottom side. Sivir versus Jinx, old school late game ADCs.
So this is what I was talking about, maybe. Like saying, hey, let's play for the top side. Nope, insta-lock the Jinx. So already that paints a picture for me that this is going to be our win condition, and everything that we will be drafting will be built around either further accelerating it or keeping it safe, allowing it to kite in these team fights. But MIU playing a bit of their game here. We can see that the set that has been pretty routinely banned away on 4-5 here by NDSU will be left open, and instead they're just going to opt to immediately pick it along with the Orianna. This means that NDSU, unless this Poppy is like top lane, means they can only counterpick one of these lanes. So they are going to opt to choose the Syndra to deal with the Orianna. I would imagine Poppy's probably going to be in the support role here, just further trying to pair with the Jinx to look for those early aggressive plays. And against the Sivir, can maybe be a little bit difficult to get some of those effective wall slams due to the spell shield. So the flex is still open. Don't want to say that the Poppy is 100% locked into the support role. It could be jungle, could be top. If it is top, I do think that this is a matchup that Set is going to heavily enjoy playing, though, because Poppy, a very short-range champion, and Set loves that.
Yeah, and considering how the flow of the top lane has also gone Aaron Omni as well as Puggus Wuggus, it's been Aaron Omni favored, no matter the matchup. It feels like. It always feels like Aaron Omni has that ability to take over the lane, and so giving him a favorable matchup might even be more detrimental to that side, but it was locked in very quickly, as right now we are getting full punishment into the jungle position. Sageinator and Hydra's losing not only 4 here in the ban in the second rotation, the Vi, the Gragas, as well as the Nocturne and the J4. Remember, Kayn and Wukong were also banned out. This makes 10 junglers that are all off the table in total for this game number 3, which means you gotta dig extremely deep. And for NDSU, you are forcing MIU to dig blind right now, or locked in potential for that top lane with the Poppy as well, maybe that flex top jungle or support like you were talking about, Quacks.
We are going to see the Xin Zhao paired up with the Orianna as well, so just further the ball delivery win condition here of the mid-jungle combo for MIU. The Set is also a pretty decent ball boy, having that showstopper, and we are going to be seeing the Mel as the final lock in here. This is a Sivir Mel bot lane, more than likely, so that's range galore. That is like the biggest stalemate of all time. If you are trying to prevent Jinx from snowballing ahead early on in this game, I feel like this is certainly a bot lane 2v2 to make that happen. This is basically the evil side of Ashe Seraphine but you got to get a little bit more creative. Dig deep, like you said, Orbital.
Yeah.
But we are going to get confirmation that there is going to be a Poppy in the jungle. So not going to be paired up with the Jinx. Rather, it is going to be the Janna instead, which is a really interesting lock-in. I'm really questioning the value of this champion because in the lane, it's not going to be able to do a ton. I mean, Mel is going to be able to reflect that tornado as well. So that could maybe open up some doors for MIU's bot lane to trade onto the Jinx if they are in the path of the Nado. But on top of that, I mean, Janna is traditionally seen as more of a roaming champion, but across the board, I don't think you're going to be really looking at any other lane other than bot. This Jinx is really your big win condition combined with the Syndra, of course, but both the lanes just feel so difficult to actually punish on the side of MIU. So it doesn't feel like NDSU are getting full effectiveness of their champions. And they've got to be the ones starting to snowball this game ahead, because if they can snowball by the time the ornaments come through, they'll be really strong in the late game. MIU don't really have to do anything. This is a very similar game to game number 1 where you just kind of scale. I would say the only lane where the scaling probably isn't going to be the main focus is in that top lane. So for MIU, my eyes are glued toward that part of the map.
All right, I kind of like that, and I also want to point out that for this Janna, normally you want to see it with a little bit more dive against you as well. The only dive that I really see is the set and the Xin Zhao. Like it's there, but I do agree we are watching kind of the shift in priority. Not only that, I want to point out as a whole in this series, it's almost like we gone backwards, you know, backwards in the way that normally we see more meta compositions come out in the games 1 and 2, and then it slowly devolves into, you know, weird comfort, weird styles, and everything like that. This is the most standard I think I've seen both of the teams actively play so far in the series. So it's kind of a fun little backwards, you know, haymaker there. But looking at the current position of this game, I really do feel MIU have a lot going for them here, not just in the composition, but also in the mental facility. This composition still lends itself to very brute force. If we fight in the jungle, we can take a fight. We can take a lot in that value, so let's see if they can do so. They are on the blue side, heading into this game 3. Winner takes all and moves on in the Div 5 Nationals.
A lot riding on the line for these teams. A long-standing rivalry about to come to an end here. Whoever wins, like you said, going to be rewarded with a step up, but Shuffle already moving, forced to flash right out of the gate. So bad start here for the MIU mid laner. Doesn't even get the ward down on the Raptors either. So no information necessarily gathered on to Sageinator. I mean, you did see him come out of the bush and the minions had spawned at that time. So I think you can infer that he's probably not going to start on the bot side, but it just means it's more difficult to dictate what the tempo of this Poppy's clear is looking like.
Will you match pace or will you be behind? Of course, that's not the only question that we're watching for. Other questions that remain to be answered here. Aaron Omni, will they be the winner of the top side? Very high chance of that, as already we're getting the Fist of Fury being thrown into Puggus Wuggus' face. In the mid lane, are we going to see Shuffle take control once more? Are we going to see Stolen Soul have a much more comfortable line this time around? What are the differences? And where do the teams win here in the early stages? Do we see bot lane pop off? Do we see Schmidia, who has been almost nursing a field of a carry position? Will you actually get the chance to be that big victor as Puggus Wuggus? 100 HP tops after that trade.
Forced under his own turret now. We can see that Aaron Omni having his way in the laning phase. Like we said, we wanted to have it pan out. If MIU wanted some form of early aggression in their comp, it was going to be coming from the top lane. And that seems to be the case here. Sageinator, though, pathing away from the top side. In fact, both junglers pathing away from the top side, but only one of them going to be spotted on their way toward that bot side crab. And it is going to be Hydra's. That ward was placed on his Raptors. So they have an idea. Ooh, hang on.
Oh, that's a one-for-one trade that I think Aaron Omni knew was going to happen because he crashed that entire wave under the tower as well.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely worth it. You burn his flash, you make him miss this entire wave, and you maintain your own flash. So that is absolutely hashtag worth it for Aaron Omni. So he's going to be able to get that solo kill, like you said. Does go down as a result, but doesn't have to burn the flash. Doesn't even have to burn the TP going back to lane. So nothing of really large consequence coming out here for the Ornn. as we do see both junglers finishing up their clear. Sageinator is just that much faster, though, so he will be the first one onto the bot side crab. Xin Zhao forced to go toward that top crab, and maybe if an opportunity opens up, he can look for a re-gank onto that top side with the Ornn not having that flash.
Well, the gank might come in 3 different ways here, as it's actually Puggus Wuggus calling for a little bit of help from the mid laner to cross over the ward as Stolen Soul is around, but it's only a level 3 and level 4 versus a level 3 Aaron Omni, which honestly, I think is going to do just fine. That's going to be a little bit of the power slammed on top of your head, but Hydrus, as he said, is here now. Puggus Wuggus, you're not really going to be able to survive. You try and jump away, but there's a flash that wasn't used earlier, and it's a powerful strike for Aaron Omni to come away with a second. Hydrus, though, running for your life as that's a pinch against the wall, and a quick steal by Sageinator to get a little bit of revenge. You're going to look for a second as Hydrus is underneath the tower, but unfortunately, Hydrus is able to survive. Stolen Soul was really hoping for a second kill.
Really good stall out there from Aaron Omni. He loses his life in the process, but it does open up I would say a favorable trade for MIU now, though. On the other side, Shuffle managed to get a bunch of solo gold on this Orianna. So that is going to be, I would say, recompense for what happened earlier. Forced to burn that flash in the level 1 play. Now he gets a little bit of gold back to himself and a little bit of time to get within, the same amount of econ as the Syndra.
Yeah, this is... I mean, Shuffle is just chilling right there, just like, yeah, I'm good. But, I mean, we got to take stock of what just happened topside. I mean, that is now 3 times in a row where Aaron Omni is just this menace on the board. And NDSU, throughout the series, has just not found a good answer for it. It's been so tough for them throughout the entirety, where they're just kind of wandering in and out of these lanes. I'm very, very curious how this is going to continue, if it is going to continue, or if we're going to see maybe even a lane swap. At this point, I'd even take a lane swap. I just want to see Aaron Omni truly challenged in this top lane. Uh-oh.
Yeah, it feels really difficult to actually threaten the set. It's very difficult to threaten the set as well, because especially without the Syndra roam that we saw earlier, I don't think that Sagemaster and Puggus Wuggus necessarily have like the damage to actually kill this set at this point in the game. Sure, he's only got a Doran shield in defense, but he's also got that W. He's got that massive shield, and he's going to be dinging level 6 soon, so that is going to make him that much more deadly in the skirmish. So until you get some items under your belt, or you free up the Syndra, or you lane swap, like you said, it feels like this set is going to go relatively unanswered and just be this massive thorn in NDSU's side.
The fact that Aaron is even allowed to go to Cole and still feel confident in it is crazy to me. It's so good, though, at the same time. In the mid lane, though, junglers do show themselves a little bit more, as we get to see a little bit of a fight here on the bot side. Tornado catches 1, but for Schmidiot, you're still trying to farm up a Storm here. Both ADCs, of course, going for the Cole. Knows it's a farming lane, might as well make the most of it.
NDSU's bot lane moving up to sync with the rest of the team around this dragon as well. So they are first to the river. MIU, how are they going to approach this fight?
I mean, they're going to be looking for a little bit more than that. Great stun against the wall, though, as they double pinch in on this Xin Zhao, and Hydrus is annihilated. Spell Shield keeps Ace alive, and a tornado actually reflected back. Very nice rebuttal, but Hydrus, taking a very dangerous route, offers up their life.
Really solid wall slam there from Sagemaster as well, realizing that Hydrus is completely isolated, and without that flash too. So he gets taken down. Jungler dead means that MIU can't really contest this dragon, at least not right away. It is falling relatively slowly, and teleport is coming out here for Aaron Omni. MIU wants to fight for this.
And maybe they can get it, but that's another boomerang.
Guys, finish the dragon.
Up. Good smite to come out, and then the kill afterwards. Tornado lands on 3, though, and Hydrus is back and alive. The time it takes is a little bit too long, so MIU collapse. Hydrus pays with the dragon in their life, but are able to take 2 kills back.
Yeah, really good just expedience there by Hydrus. He gets taken down, but he manages to make it for the post-dragon chase along with Aaron Omni. Teleport well spent, and a bunch of gold going over to MIU. Puggus Wuggus is going to get at least a plate for his efforts here, just being alone on the top side, not able to respond with a teleport of his own. So not without a trade. NDSU also got the dragon, so that will at least be in their back pocket. But first, Drake, not super important as far as the grander scheme of the game goes.
Yeah, 100%. However, I am kind of glad we are getting a Chem-type dragon next, which means it's either going to be a mountain, a cloud, an infernal, or ocean. 50% chance to have a high-priority dragon on the field.
Yeah.
You know, I say that with all of my heart for the cloud and the mountain. As Saginator just is playing with fire. Honestly, I would be so scared as a Poppy to go in and smite a grub away, but was able to do so and steal one for themselves. Unfortunately, two will go the other way, so MIU will maintain their possession over the global game.
MIU's comp not super great at being able to capitalize off of having the grubs. I would say probably the most apparent beneficiary of that objective is probably the set, simply because he has been putting Puggus Wuggus under his tower for about 90% of the laning phase. So being able to just, you know, chip in some of that plate gold little by little will give a bit more economy over to the set, who, like we said, desperately going to need it in order to maintain relevancy as the game timer goes on and he really starts to lose steam. So one way he can continue to chug along in this match is by getting those plates.
Getting more damage down as well. You can see here Aaron Omni always willing to kind of throw down a haymaker, throw down a little extra damage, even if it trades out their own life. But this time it was Puggus Wuggus, who's just trying to stop it back and might call it out one more time. Says, hey, I know you're probably around here. And yeah, calls it out rightly. Aaron Omni, maybe a little bit pissed off. Yeah, has the showstopper available as well, but that's a haymaker landing. Didn't have the full bar, so instead it's Puggus Wuggus chasing. Both ran grasp as well, so no true damage to come out on the back end. Feels good on the back end burner though, as Aaron Omni is still kind of hunting. Good draw back, gets the stun. Puggus Wuggus has the Warden's Mail, which is negating a lot of the extra damage. Goes in for the headbutt back. Haymaker sidestepped, and now you're willing to fight it out. Are you going to call the Ornhorn? Both top laners could easily make this happen. But do they want to pull that trigger? Yes, here it comes. But Aaron Omni is looking. There's the knockup that you wanted. And it will be the clap. Puggus Wuggus wins the 1v1. Now we take a look down on the bot side, as that's going to be immediate. Skylar ramping up against the wall. Flash over the wall. Saginator will grab that kill. And things are turning back to NDSU as they find 2 across the map.
And Puggus, I mean, call Puggus Wuggus an astronaut. This guy's been spacing. I mean, Aaron Omni, he's trying to, you know, go for the showstopper, cover that distance. The Ornn is walking back. He saved the flash, though. He thought he had the distance. I think if he just flashed, he probably could have won that trade. As, speaking of looking for trades, Stolen Soul is going to deny it. Going to expend his own flash to get on away. Hydra's also using his own summoner, so it is 1-for-1 in the summoner spell department. But yeah, really good bounce back there from Puggus Wuggus. And my boy probably loves the Warden's Mail more than he loves his own girlfriend.
Yeah, I pointed it out. I was kind of curious, like maybe a Brambles, but like that Warden's did so much, dude. Like I want to know how much damage it mitigated. I want to be honest.
Oh yeah, the stats from that are probably sky high at the current moment.
Only 11 minutes into the game as well. Crazy.
Yeah. Dragging up in a little over 40 seconds, we can see that Saginator is on the top side. Both junglers, in fact, are on the top side. So it is going to kind of be up to, we can see that Turbo Turtles is looking to at least fish for a little bit of vision in this river, but there is that Fey Light being activated for MIU near that river. On the bot side as well. So that will give them a good amount of information if anyone decides to cross over that area. This will be second Drake for NDSU. We highlighted the scaling importance of things like the Jinx and being able to sync up those win cons with things like the ornaments. So if they're able to claim this, I think they'll be on pace to have this Ornn hit like level 13, level 14 by the time Soul becomes an actual win condition.
That would be crazy to watch for. Of course, on the top side, we're still seeing this Duke out between the two, but for MIU, their eyes are focused on still trying to catch Stolen Soul. On the bot side, though, it is a lane gank. And Saginator unfortunately poked their head outside of the brush, meaning Ace and Skylar were more than able to get around the wall. However, there's a pinch on the other side, as the smaller side of that fight will be MIU losing a lot of their HP. But they are running their lives away. They turn it around, and Stolen Soul catches one to shuffle, and that calls the Orange got around, and they turn it on its head. It's MIU that are in the wrong place at the wrong time, unleashing Schmidian to the battlefield. That is a triple and more. No holds barred. Ace for Bison Gold.
NDSU just have the superior front to back. The Orn Horn. It doesn't end up going down, but it does force Aaron Omni to not really join the fight and look for these backliners. All of MIU are really split in their attention, trying to hold back certain members of NDSU from joining up with the rest of the team while trying to take down their backliners. And NDSU pick them apart, divided they fall, and second dragon will be going over to them. The scaling win condition remains alive for this team.
I mean, that was also a beauty of a call. We were mentioning NDSU. How do you bounce back? How do you bounce back from a game where you were locked out, you only got a kill and a tower, you lost most of your jungle, Sage and Nader kept getting picked off, and you do it perfectly. Bot side, that is one of the best team plays I've seen in a while, from both squads, by the way. MIU had the same idea. They were trying to pincer in. It was a textbook good play, just at the end of the day, it went a little bit rough, so heads up to both is NDSU taking advantage, and they're giving themselves so much extra space to play with right now. I am keeping eyes. It is a Mountain Soul, not exactly the most thrilling in the world, but at this point, the Dragon doesn't even matter. I'm watching Schmitty, who got 3 kills, went straight for the Hex Optics, getting that extra range damage, going straight into that BF as well. I am ready for Schmitty to be the monster Jinx carry that we all know and love.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see he's working on a second item as well. Is this going to be the Hex Optics into Phantom Dancer build? That would be absolutely based if Schmitty decided to go for that. Just give you that extra little bit of movement speed, make you harder to pick off in the fights, and oh boy, here we go.
I love that dodge, by the way. Aaron Omni has no way out, no flash, and that is your doom. Late TP as well, coming out from Shuffle, so big wins in the macro plays as well for NDSU, as you've drawn 3 to this side of the map. I don't know if this is where you actually want to be from the rest, but that's a pinch on the wall. Sage in there goes a little bit further ahead than everyone else as the Crescent Guard keeps you alive for a little bit longer. Sage does have the extra magic and armor in the back pocket, thanks to being below 50% HP. But it's the call on the side as Puggus Wuggus is able to clip the knockup, showing exceptional understanding of the Ornn. NDSU are doing it.
Yeah, amazing searing charge there to continue the chase for NDSU. They look aggressively on the top side, and they find their targets. Herald going to be a foregone conclusion. This will be good for allowing them to have that space to play for the next dragon. But overall, I mean, just look at the bounties on NDSU. If you don't know which one I'm talking about, that's because they all have a bounty. So if MIU can get some kind of a kill, they can look back into this game. But so far, every fight has been extremely difficult for them to play out.
And even one like this looked a little bit spicy with one going low, but they make it look simple at the end. MIU get the dive off. They get a singular kill that they so drastically needed, but it didn't really go to Ace, which is what they were really hoping for at the end of the day. The rest of the team is here for NDSU, but the tower goes down with the objective bounty going the way of the Pioneers. So they'll be quite happy about that gold lift for themselves. On the other side, Shuffle clears out a major wave in the top side. We'll look to chase poor Puggus Wuggus out of the lane. But Shuffle, realizing that the Ornn is very dangerous if you're not careful.
And I just saw level 13 dinged for Puggus Wuggus as well. So that is going to mean ornaments are being wrapped. The elves are starting up their production, and we're going to be putting down the chimney for the NDSU players as the levels go by. So really good news specifically for the scaling late game threats. I am wondering if Puggus Wuggus is going to maybe wait for the Jinx to get the IE before upgrading him. And if that's the case, who is he going to opt to upgrade instead of Schmitty? I would imagine Stolen Soul is probably next in line.
I mean, I like that idea as well, as Stolen Soul has actually had a pretty good game this time around. 2-1-4 so far, a lot more controlling in the early to mid, and especially as a Syndra, you want that extra burst to really cut through some of the squishier members. If you're able to catch Ace out, if you're able to catch Shuffle out, you can do a lot of damage and split up MIU. So I'd agree with you on that point. I really don't see Sage and Nader, 3 Turbo Turtles, supports and junglers needing an Ornn upgrade at this time.
It's okay, Sage and Nader. It happens.
I feel mean just saying that, bro. I feel so mean. All right, taking a look. Scout of the week,
Soul.
though. That's a flash
Oh
in.
my God.
Stolen. Yeah, you're not getting away from this one. Haymaker to finish, and Aaron Omni says, "You're no Puggus Wuggus. I can kill you."
Yep. So does commit the flash and the ult to do so.
That's a nice little punt.
Yeah, but I mean, he's just gonna be able to walk back. Dragon hasn't even spawned. Still 20 seconds rather until the Syndra comes up. So if they could stall out for Stolen Soul to recall or reset rather and get back onto the map and TP to this fight, then I do think they could still look for a trade. But it seems like MIU have found their entrance into the river and they are not going to let it go.
Nope, but I really don't see a major answer. However, a steal attempt might be made. Sageinator just chases on in, looks for the smite, doesn't get it, flashes right back out. Really good escape. They pulled the TP from Stolen Soul as well, so they were looking to try and commit a fight if they were able to steal the dragon. Well done by MIU, though, to make sure that steal doesn't go through.
Yep. Good zone control as well, getting the mid wave and immediately transitioning toward the bot side. This does give them 5 more minutes to get some items under their belt, and we haven't really checked in with the scaling win conditions for MIU because we've been so hell-bent on making sure that things like the set, things like the Xin Zhao, these ones that kind of run on empty if they aren't given resources enough to function in the late game, that we've kind of forsaken the other facets of this comp. I mean, the Sivir now completing their second item, so we can see that the Navori is there for Ace the Killer. Shuffle as well, working on their second item of the game. Not to mention, the quest completed a long time ago does mean that the Magic Shred is coming through here, and that Orianna Ball is going to be hitting a lot harder. So, definitely going to be MIU, not without scaling win cons of their own. It just feels like because you have things that are on the other side, like a Jinx and an Ornn, that is going to be so hard to compete against. As I say, the win conditions for NDSU are the Jinx. We were talking about maybe the Phantom Dancer. No, it is just going to be the IE second, by the way. So this does give Puggus Wuggus the ability to say, all right, I'm going to just upgrade my Jinx the next time I see her.
We're just gonna, yeah, we gotta roll it. Sorry, we gotta get that Jinx higher up on the battlefield as well, and I 100% agree with it. We'll see if it goes through. At the current moment, though, it's not just the ornaments that we are hunting for. We're looking at the rest of the global objectives. Puggus Wuggus has been kind of slowly chased out for what they have been building. You can see here another TP coming in for the battle. Puggus Wuggus not enjoying where they're currently positioned, and I don't think any help is coming, so instead it's a pressure into that mid lane. How far can Puggus Wuggus run, though, as this is a heavy investment from MIU in the meantime to turn around there in the mid lane? If you're able to actually run your way out to safety for the moment, that would be huge.
Look how much he's stalling, by the way.
Yeah, I was wondering if they're going to be able to get a tower. Bot side as well is getting a lot of pressure, so you know what? Heads up to Puggus Wuggus. You did your job pretty well there.
Yeah, I mean, they are going to be able to get a tier 2 for their efforts. It's going to take a little bit longer because the wave is actually cleared out there by Ace the Killer. That is one of the most valuable things about a champion like the Sivir. But look at MIU. They're just continuing to push. I mean, they literally have no one stopping them. They don't have a Sivir to impede their efforts. So they're actually going to get maybe potentially 2 turrets.
I actually really love that call, as that's going to be the unleashed power, taking away Aaron Omni. The Crescent Guard only blocks stuff for you, Hydras, but I give credit to MIU. Nobody challenged them. So they said, okay, we're just going to take it, and fired away at the end. I really do appreciate that at the end. Boomerang out, though, as Schmidt nearly goes down. Bouncing blades will not land, but Schmidt is able to survive. This is starting to become a nice edge battle between everyone here on Summoner's Rift.
Yeah. MIU with a decent injection of gold into them because of that top lane push. We're going to have to see if it's enough by the time this dragon rolls around in a little over a minute 30. Still no Ornn upgrade for the Jinx. Level 15 now hit for Puggus Wuggus. He actually opted to get the Shadow Flame there for Stolen Soul instead. So paying a little bit more respect to the Sivir, or not the Sivir, the Syndra. You know, so it starts with the same letter, okay?
That's fair. You know what? It all starts with the letters ABCs of League and more. Man, I'm just impressed at Puggus. I don't know. My eyes are drawn back to this top laner who historically has had struggles in the top lane role, and this time has actually done very well for themselves. Granted, the scaling difference is there. Eyes out though. 50 seconds for the Dragon and Quacks. We might be in that position where we get another Dragon fight between these two teams.
It's kind of been the main theme of this entire series, Orbital.
Yeah, true.
Whoever controls the dragons,
Elder something.
Yeah, play the Elder Scrolls, bro. Like, what are you doing in League of Legends, bro?
Remake 1, 2, or 3? That's the question, right? Just how many remakes can they do?
We'll do the Cloud remake, the Ocean remake, the Hextech remake.
Oh,
we're on the Mountain remake now, though.
True. It's one of the most boring remakes, I gotta say. You know, 6 out of 10, not enough water.
Yeah, 6 out of 10. Plot was a little bit stale. Despite the graphic male nudity, I still enjoyed it, though.
I didn't know about that. I didn't know about that review, but we'll give it to it.
Oh, you missed that cutscene? Oh, shit.
I did miss that cutscene. I'm also missing the cutscene where we see Ace actually get away from a scout of the week, and they are now down on about half HP. TP coming in from Aaron Omni, who senses that things might be a little bit dire. This is a full onset as Puggus Wuggus is looking for TP in, but it is MIU to get to the Dragon. First, in comes the Demacian Hammer, sends one out right away, and it looks like they got a good pinch. Now they're looking for the battle on the back line. What a slam! Woo! Stolen Soul steals a triple and sends MIU packing, baby. What an NDSU win!
You know, maybe Puggus Wuggus saw something by upgrading the Syndra first. A Stolen Soul with a huge kill, triple. Hydras is gonna go down. All of MIU fall. NDSU, with a team fight of their lives, are gonna move on to the Baron. The upgrade for the Jinx is finally gonna come through. And the scaling win conditions are in full force at this point.
Quacks, you said back in game number 1, you've never cast a game that had that style of composition. I will say I've never seen a triple force of will kill from a Syndra. That is very, very rare. It's not the ability that has to kill threat. I've never seen a Haymaker seal from Aaron Omni, who grabs the Baron and keeps MIU alive, at least for the moment.
Oh my god, I mean, it's a double kill going over to Schmidiot, and more kills are going to be given over to NDSU. So only 2 Baron buffs, I believe, survive. But a Haymaker steal? Oh my, sequence of events that have happened in the last 3 minutes are something out of a fever dream. Like, this is not real.
I mean, Aaron just caught me completely off guard. I was like, there's no way a Haymaker is going to steal Baron, right? There's no way. And it happens. We've seen 3 steal attempts, by the way, by Saginator in this series long, and nothing's worked. And the fact that Aaron is able to pull that off, I mean, where do we go from here? I know it's 9 to 20. I know we're looking at a 3K difference. I know we're looking at soul point for NDSU, and yet MIU constantly feel like they are able to fight.
Yeah, they can fight, but I feel like the ability to look for these 5v5s is going to be a lot more difficult. We saw kind of how difficult it was in that last Dragon fight. I mean, the Poppy ejection from the play, being able to get Hydra and make it a 4v5, like, that is going to be a very relevant spell in these future plays. The fact that it only hit 1, I feel like, is the best case scenario for NDSU at this point, because if those are multi-man Poppy ultimates, it's not just a 4v5, it's a 3v5, 2v5, and that just means that NDSU can split up MIU, and the 5v5s are the main way that MIU are supposed to be winning this game.
So let's see if they stick to that status quo. If Bison Gold are able to bring the Pioneers to their knees, whether split as a team or in a straight 5v5, it is up to the players themselves. Puggus Wuggus trying to build out, I'm guessing, their 4th item. Really, like, come on, just let me forge an item. Let me be that tank. Saginator says, don't block our blacksmith, as the rest of the team is here and says, guys, this is how we launch. That's going to be catch against the wall. Monsoon just to ensure the HP. And it's Schmidiot to pick up yet another kill. Yeah. It's just never ending to the scaling of this squad. NDSU, the sky's the limit. 3.5 on Schmidiot. Stolen Soul, 3 items, and a fully stacked Dark Seal. Sagenator on 2.5, but says, I have so many components, I might as well have a third. They look to pinch against the wall. That's a catch on to Skylar, who she's been doing her own job, trying to do their best as a Mel. But it's a little bit tough at the end, so we'll see if it happens. Rest of the team backs away, though, as NDSU say we don't want to lose our lives, and we want to make sure our HP bars are full for the upcoming Dragon. At this chance, we'll be working their magic a little bit more so, as we do watch. We are 28.5 minutes into this game, and NDSU really, really want to win for themselves. Oh, good damage.
Poking and prodding.
All right. This will be a little bit tough, though. Big questions about. Tornado out for a moment. And they back away. Quacks, they're towing the line. Everyone's towing the line right now.
Yeah, this is kind of on a knife's edge here at Orbital. We can see that the Orin is split away from the rest of the team, but crucially, I'm looking at this Poppy. Who are they going to target for an ejection to make this fight a 4v5 or potentially even worse?
The Justice of Demacia. Who goes to jail? They're looking to swing. They punch out the set. I don't know if that's the target they wanted, but they do flash into the mix. Is anyone else able to follow? Out comes Ornhorn. He's got a leak in the middle. What a shockwave to slow them down, but it doesn't stop the onslaughts. For one, Shuffle actually landed a 3-man ulti. But really, it just delays more. At least they didn't lose more, though. MIU still have 4 alive. They're trying to turn around. Tornado lands onto 1. Dragon is up and available, and NDSU are trying to seal the way. If they get the mountain, it's even more disgusting, because MIU then have to shred an extra shield on top. But they don't have the jungler. They don't have more. It will be Soul for Bison Gold.
Again, another really good ejection from the side of Sage and Nader. He manages to get the set away. And speaking of set, he's going to get slammed into the wall.
And there's no out here. Aaron Omni is not omnipotent. You will fall. You are mortal here on the day. It is Schmidiot, the one that we have watched in games 1 and 2. Have moments, but not the full ride. And you are now 7-2-6. Same with Stolen Soul 6-2-8.
It feels really difficult, though, to siege these base turrets without the Baron buff. So NDSU, even though they win out on the Dragon, even though they get the Soul, and even though they get Aaron Omni out of the game for about 40 seconds, they're not going to be able to break open the base at any point because the wave clear from the Orianna, the wave clear from the Sivir is just a little too potent. So luckily Baron is up in less than 10 seconds. So, you know, it's saved by the bell kind of thing here for NDSU. They just have to make sure that top wave is prepared. It's exactly what Puggus Wuggus is doing right now, and that they've got apt vision around that top side. Everyone on NDSU is redeploying on this part of the map, so they should have a good amount of vision laid down and the ability to start on this Baron should they choose.
And remember, the main thing, keep eyes on where Aaron Omni is. You do not want another Fog of War Haymaker stealing that Baron away. Just really keep track of where that set currently will be positioned. All right, taking a look, though, as he said, redeployed out on the map, Puggus Wuggus will be completing what looks to be a little bit of a cloth armor. Went with the belt at the end, getting a little extra regen once you drop below 35% HP is one of the new items, but really does give a buff in the jungle. Another pinch against the wall, though, as they're going to look to punch out Hydras, but no, they punch the backline damage. They section out the top and jungler, and they look for the extra scout of the week. What a clinical demolition of MIU's composition by Bison Gold.
Honestly, you were hitting bars there, Orbital. NDSU were hitting champions. They managed to find 2, and now the Baron is going to be the thing that they hit next. With that Sivir still up, with that Orianna still standing, the wave clear, like I said, is just a little too much. They want to play it safer and go on to the Baron buff instead. I really want to see how they're going to actually make use of wearing purple, though, in the next couple of minutes, Orbital, because we do have the looming threat of the Elder coming up in a little over 3 minutes. And I feel like NDSU have done such a good job at slowly but surely growing that gold lead over the past 10 minutes. So if there is an opportunity to crash it all down, NDSU need to avoid it at all costs.
And for MIU, they're just trying to, they're sending a fishhook out and seeing what bites, and at the current moment, a shockwave is all you're watching whiff by 3 Turbo Turtles' head, who, by the way, is untouchable. The captain staying alive throughout the entirety of this game number 3, 1-0 and 16. Big shout out there. Wondering about this Janna pick, but the Janna pick seems to be working for them very well. Extra shielding, extra movement speed, and everything under the sun. Inhibitor 1 down, Inhibitor 2 down. And look at those rockets landing from Schmidia, doing the damage well. All coming in from Puggus Wuggus though, so it's a brief 4v5. TP coming in with the rest of the team, and it looks like they're trying to end it right now. Quacks, it looks like Bison Gold want their revenge right here and right now. They have played this game 3-2 near perfection, as that's the scout of the week onto poor Shuffles. Ooh. And Shuffles is shuffled to the bottom of the deck as they will wait on the recall there. Show some on the back, and Aaron trying to do the damage and baiting out the rest of the team, but their HP bar cannot stand. Schmidia takes the brunt of it, but it's another scout of the week for Soul and Soul. The fight goes NDSU's way. They have fought through trials and tribulations. Regular season does not matter. NDSU will take MIU through Game 3 and move on in the Div 5 Nationals.
NDSU, make it happen here, Orbital. And I got to give so much credit over to the late game insurers of this game. You see things like a Jinx, you see things like a Syndra, you immediately think, okay, the comp is going to be centered around this entire team. And frankly, the enemy team is going to be looking for you at every available opportunity. But they took that pressure, they swallowed it, and they went forward. So really good and a lot of respect given over to NDSU. And yeah, like you said, they move on.
And I just want to give a special shout out. I think everyone on the side of NDSU played amazingly well. Bison Gold, I was talking to their captain at 3 Turbo Turtles, and I asked, you know, you are going up against a pretty tough wall. You're going up against a team that has historically beaten you. Do you have confidence? Are you looking? And they said no. You have to be realistic when you are headed into nationals. These are teams that are at the top of the game looking to try and win. And they said they're going to try their best. And they gave us a show because I asked. I wanted someone to step up. Everyone did. Everyone in the game did. But I want to give a special shout out to Puggus Wuggus, who got beaten down 2 games in a row. And then in Game 3, on an Ornn of all things, stepped up. Solo killed Aaron Omni. Held on against 4. So much strength in that top lane resilience. The entire team in North Dakota State University, they have to be proud of this series.
Yep. Really good stuff from NDSU. I'm excited to see what they do next, but Orbital, that's going to do it for us. I mean, the series went to 3, which is always really exciting, especially when you get into these like Div 5, Div 6 areas, simply because like you are never sure what the comps are going to be in the next game. And they were spicy, every single one. So it was a pleasure being on here with you, my friend.
Of course, it was a beautiful time, and thank you so much for joining me, because I swear every time you and I cast together here in the NECC, it's either Game 3 or a spicy 2 games and a 2-0. It's so much fun overall, and that's what the Forge Trials are all about here in NECC. We love that the Nationals are kicking off throughout, and the trials that these teams go through will continue not just in League of Legends, but also in Overwatch, which will be played tomorrow. Keep eyes on the socials to see which teams will be playing their hearts out to move on in the tournament of the champions of the champions. Of course, that will do it for us here on the desk. My name is Orbital. With me has been Quacks. We had awesome people in the booth, Shivam as well as Adam, and then Ramen doing the socials. Of course, we give a big shout out to the socials, giving us all the highlights in the clips. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in here today, and we'll catch you all on the next one.